If you've ever been in a Waymo that drove into the middle of a police standoff, yeah, that actually happened. But go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Friday, December 5th edition as we close out the week here. Next week is the Fed. The week after that, it's the Bank of Japan stuff. So we should have some big things coming up in the next week here. But before we get to that, we are going to close Friday out strong here. Market up a little bit. SoFi did an offering and a number of things to take a look at. Mark Putrino and Anne Marie today. 13 will be joining us. We're going to have a fun Friday. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for December 5th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope the rest of your Thursday evening was good. And if you rooted for the Detroit Lions, I bet you have extra pep in your step today, as that was a heck of a Thursday night game, probably the best we saw all year. And congrats to the Lions for securing that victory. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. CAD Monkey is first here today. CAD Monkey, what are you drawing up on the CAD machine these days? Let me know what you're working on there. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Billy, good morning. Welcome back. Corey, good morning. The producer is locked in. Big Dave, what's going on? TGIF, indeed, baby. Christoph, good morning. Welcome back. Tom, good morning. Looking forward to another Victory Monday. Go Bears. Tom, your energy is contagious. You're pumping me up. I hope for the same thing. Zach McCracken, good morning. Hope you are doing well. Hopefully you had a good night last night. Thank you again. Born to be Free, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you, my man. Hopefully all is well in your neck of the woods. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Neville, good morning. GP38 Super, what's shaking? Our show is shaking now that we started. Good morning. Welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well also. Ari Stock Market, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Good to see you again. Abby, good morning. Welcome back. H&H Tactical, good morning. Welcome back. Kenneth, Graf, and K Hunter, I think. K Hunter Entertainment, good morning. You're talking about SMX. What a wild ride there in SMX. I'm just hoping that it's all good stories from our group here instead of bad ones, because I suspect that's going to end badly. Hopefully it hasn't hurt anybody so far. Good stuff if you're in that. Parma, good morning. Welcome back. Adit, good morning. Kelly or two, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through, good morning. Jane, it's good to see you again. Work Life, welcome back. Lambo Rolls, welcome back. JJ, buenos dias, indeed. Welcome back. Best Life, good morning. Welcome back. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster, it's good to see you again. Vivek, good morning. Frank, go Lions, indeed, Frank. I bet you were loving that. Sorry I had to skip out yesterday. I'm with you, by the way, on the people just giving up their privacy and allowing to being tracked. I am on the same page as you, Frank. It's pretty terrifying. Bernhard, welcome back. Scott, welcome back. Johnny, it's good to see you again. David, welcome back. Thui, good morning. Welcome back. Creation, good morning. Sam, good morning. Green Golem, good morning. Empyrean, good morning. David, good morning. Dan Nick, good morning. Itty, good morning. And Glade, good morning. And Scarlett, good morning. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. All right, futures in the green slightly ahead of Friday's open here. S&P futures up 0.19%, the Dow futures up 0.1%, and the NASDAQ leading the way higher, 0.32%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session. Industrials and information technology stocks bucked the overall trend to close higher on Thursday, while consumer staples, healthcare, and consumer discretionary sectors posted the day's significant losses. U.S. stocks ultimately settled mixed, though the NASDAQ composite managed to gain around 50 points ahead of next week's widely anticipated Federal Reserve cut. I guess we should say Federal Reserve meeting, but the FOMC tool says that it's about a 90% chance of a cut. Investors await the September reading of the Federal Reserve's Preferred Inflation Gauge, the PCE price index, a marquee event delayed by the recent government shutdown. Meanwhile, according to Challenger, Gray and Christmas, U.S. job cuts fell about 53% month over month in November, but the total of 71,321 remained 24% higher than a year ago, reflecting a cautious labor market grappling with soft demand, tariff pressures, and rising costs. The 10-year Treasury bond, yielded 4.11%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.53%. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here today. The big one is going to be Netflix. Netflix fell 0.52% in the pre-market on Friday, despite outbidding rivals in the Warner Brothers Discovery auction and entering exclusive negotiations. We'll dive into that story a little bit more here in a few minutes. Next on the list here is Hewlett Packard Enterprise. That's ticker HPE. That tumbled 9.17% after reporting mixed fourth quarter financial results and issuing weak first quarter sales guidance. The company's revenue rose 14% year over year to $9.68 billion versus estimates of $9.94 billion. Adjusted earnings came in at 62 cents per share, topping market estimates of 58 cents per share. The next stock on our list here is going to be Cooper Companies. This is ticker COO, and it gained 12.94% after reporting better than expected fourth quarter financial results and issuing full year 26 guidance above estimates. Zumiez is our next stock. That's ticker ZUMZ. It jumped 14.09% after reporting upbeat results for the third quarter and issuing strong fourth quarter sales outlook. Zumiez reported quarterly earnings of 55 cents per share and quarterly sales of 239.132 million, both of which beat analyst consensus. Now, the last stock on our list is the wild one. Indeed, it is Security Matters, ticker SMX. It soared 43.52% after reports it voted on 16 proposals at its annual general meeting in Dublin, approving all 6 of them by a majority, according to a Form 6K filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. This company put out like 9 PRs yesterday. We'll see how it moves here today, but it was up huge. Very, very low float stock, up huge in today's pre-market. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart. Let's get ready to go here. What happened to my chart here? Let me see if I can fix this, folks. I don't know what happened here. Let me try it. Let me try a really quick refresh because I definitely want to go over this. I do think that we're actually going to break out here. Sure seems like that. Okay, so I don't have historical candles. That's okay. We can actually look inside here. Okay. Here's what we're looking at. So we spent a lot of time really kind of trying to get above 684. And I think the big key yesterday with the market was that the SPY actually gave us a close above 684. It traded above it early and then it dipped back beneath it in the morning and then again in the afternoon. But a late day buying rush actually produced a close above 684. Here we are in the pre-market. We're sitting right here at 685. You can see exactly what this 684 level meant. We traded up to it. It took several days before we were finally able to punch through it. And it looks like we don't have a breakaway move yet. So that's going to be one of the things that I'm looking for here today. Of course, 684 now should represent a key level to the downside. If we dip beneath it during the intraday session, that is not so much of a big deal. For me, it's really going to be where do we close? If we can close higher yet again today and get our second close above 684, that's one more data point for that being a pretty safe support area should we trade back down. Now, we're going to need this because I suspect that we're going to see some movement next week with the Federal Reserve. And even if they cut as anticipated, and even if you say, well, the market's pricing in that cut because it's thought this for a full week, I totally get it. Also think there might be a sell the news event on that. We'll see how it shakes out. But important here that we were able to get above 684. We are slightly higher here, looking like we're about to challenge 686 here right after the open. Of course, if we go back to the, I don't have those historical candles. So anyway, it's going to be our 50-day moving average and our 20-day moving average if we really start to sell off, although I don't anticipate that here on a Friday. Now let's go take a look at some insights from analyst Luis Alvarado, global fixed income strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, reports that despite the market buzz surrounding artificial intelligence and the Federal Reserve, the most pressing questions from clients recently involves managing excess cash. Probably not a bad problem to have. In his market commentary, Alvarado warns that while liquidity is essential for emergencies, holding too much can erode long-term purchasing power due to inflation. Quote, while cash feels safe, it can quietly be causing you to miss opportunities, end quote. He goes on to note that stocks and bonds have historically outperformed cash assets like money market funds over the long term. The Institute recommends investors generally keep only 2 to 10% of their portfolio in cash. To deploy excess funds, Alvarado suggests strategies such as dollar cost averaging to reduce market timing risks. He also recommends bond ladders, stating that locking in today's rates with intermediate term bonds can turn idle cash into productive assets. Now, one of the things that I was happy about reading this is that we have been talking for what feels like months now as a group about dollar cost averaging into quality companies that you want to earn for the long term. These are companies that you have a long-term view on, something like Apple or a Netflix, or in my case, Ondas. But it seems here like what this person is saying is that, take a long-term view, even if there's some short-term disruption. The stats say that you're going to get better returns on your money if you have it invested rather than keeping a majority of it in cash. And I know the temptation for traders is that if you think a big down move is coming, part of the thing that you do is you raise cash for that. And that's where we find ourselves. Now, this is why it's so key to try and get a good determination on when we're going to see that down move. If you're sitting in 50% cash here in December and we have this great December, you're going to miss out on that. So totally understand where this person is coming from. And shout out to our group who's really kind of been on this for quite some time. Looks like we have the same opinion as some of the professionals, and that's always a good thing. Now, the next thing that I want to take a look at is going to be Netflix, and I'm a little concerned because I don't think that I have the historical candles, although let me check. Looks like that was just a very quick outage. Okay, so here's Netflix's daily chart. Now, Netflix, and we've talked about this before, the whole thing going on here is Warner Brothers Discovery getting purchased by either Paramount or Netflix, and it looks like Netflix won that here. Netflix trading down 2.64%. You can see we've taken a long look at Netflix here, both pre and post split. We've lost the 200-day moving average. We death crossed here today in Netflix. Sure looks like Netflix wants to roll over. I've got the 500-day moving average down here at 86.93. That actually looks like some pretty good support. You might also get some more in there, probably right around 99, 100. We're right there. We are basically only 50 cents away from that $100 level. So with the death cross here, and it's actually been a long time since the 200 actually interacted with the 50 in any significant way. So I would expect more downside here on Netflix. If we look inside, this is what the pre-market looks like. A little bit of back and forth here, but the bias does seem to be to the downside here in the pre-market. Again, this is definitely one to watch right around the open. Now, what's going on here? Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery in a massive $82.7 billion deal, and as a result, Netflix is falling because of that. Streaming giant Netflix said on Friday it will acquire HBO owner Warner Brothers Discovery in a deal valued at $87.2 billion. The cash and stock transaction values Warner Brothers at $27.75 per share, and the deal is expected to close after the company completes separating its cable networks from the rest of its businesses, which is now expected to be completed in the third quarter of 2026. Following the tumultuous final round of offers on Thursday, the streaming giant bested rival suitors, including Paramount Skydance, that's ticker PSky or PSKY, we've looked at that recently too, to score the winning bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, ticker WBD. Netflix has never executed a transaction remotely this large, but the allure is obvious, adding Warner's lucrative franchises like Batman, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones to its global content machine. Quote, our mission has always been to entertain the world, end quote. That comes from Ted Sarandos, the co-CEO of Netflix. He goes on to say, together, we can give audiences more of what they love and help define the next century of storytelling. By offering members a wider selection of quality series and films, Netflix said it expects to attract and retain more members, drive more engagement, and generate incremental revenue and operating income. Warner Brothers Discovery shows and movies such as The Big Bang Theory, The Sopranos, The Wizard of Oz, and the DC Universe will join Netflix's extensive portfolio, which already includes Bridgerton, Adolescence, Stranger Things, and Squid Games. Los Gatos, California headquartered Netflix, said it expects to realize at least $2 to $3 billion in cost savings per year by the third year, and expects the deal to be accretive to its GAAP earnings per share by year 2. I'm going to pause right there because this, to me, is really where the rubber meets the road. We've talked about these businesses really being all about content. Content is king. If you have good content, you're going to be able to increase your subs the whole 9 yards. We've had that discussion before. That's clearly at play here. The worry here is that, yeah, this is Netflix's biggest transaction by a wide margin. They're spending a ton of money. Hope this works. Netflix is telling you, hey, this might not be accretive for 2 years here. So with the death cross, with the impetus or the bias, it looks like to the downside, with the large amount of money spent, it makes sense if we maybe pull back here a little bit in Netflix. But it sounds like, based on the content schedule that they have, that this is probably going to be a buy the dip scenario. And this is what I want to get from Los Gatos. Los Gatos is how you say that city name. Thank you. I ask all the time, if I pronounce something incorrectly, please correct me. I don't know what I don't know, and I'm trying to get 2% better every day. So I appreciate that, day trader. I will absolutely try to remember that. Los Gatos. Okay. Anyway, getting back to Netflix here. I want to know from the group, do you think that this is an opportunity to add Netflix for the long term? Netflix has been a gangbuster stock. A lot of stuff has changed recently. The big deal, the stock split, the fact that it's kind of rolled over a little bit here. What's next for Netflix? And what I guess specifically what I would like the most from the group here, what levels are you a long-term buyer of NFLX? Still, the deal faces a difficult road in Washington. Stiff antitrust scrutiny and opposition from the Department of Justice regarding further media consolidation are potential hurdles to the merger. Netflix stock fell more than 2% Friday in the pre-market, while Warner Brothers Discovery gained around 3%. It's worth noting here, Warner Brothers Discovery has been in this rumored takeover for some time now, so there was already some premium in there, which is why you're only seeing about a 3% pop here today. But let me know on Netflix. Okay, next here is going to be AEO. And actually, let me see if I can start with the chart here. Hopefully, we've got the historical candles. We'll take a look. Here's AEO. This was actually a good trade here this week. Look what the daily chart looks like. Pretty big meteoric rise here. I mean, in June, the stock was $9. It's $24 here today. Certainly looks like we have some resistance here at the 26.5 handle. And if we look to the left here, that's kind of looks like a head and shoulders, doesn't it? Looks like when you look at a weekly here, it looks a little bit choppier. So this is extended, it feels like, anyway, trading up to the highs. But let's see what's going on here with AEO. Despite a third quarter earnings beat and viral marketing campaign featuring megastars, American Eagle Outfitters is flashing a potential warning signal in its underlying fundamentals. Well, the stock price has surged following the earnings report. Benzinga Edge's stock rankings data reveals that the company's quality score has deteriorated, dropping from a not-so-hot 12.22 percentile to a troubling 3.05 percentile week on week. Quality Rankings specifically evaluates a company's operational efficiency and historical profitability relative to its peers. A rank of 3.05 indicates that despite the hype, American Eagle Outfitters sits in the bottom 5 percentile of stocks. The data presents a massive divergence between market sentiment and fundamental ranking. AEO boasts an impressive momentum score of 92.11, reflecting its strong relative strength and price volatility. Additionally, the stock shows positive price trends across the short, medium, and long-term timeframes. Investors appear to be prioritizing the company's growth score of 81.93, which measures expansion in earnings and revenue over the lagging quality metric. The retailer has enjoyed a surge in brand awareness thanks to high-profile partnerships with Sydney Sweeney and, more recently, 84-year-old lifestyle icon Martha Stewart. The Give Great Jeans campaign helped drive third quarter revenue to $1.36 billion, beating analyst estimates of $1.32 billion. However, this top-line success has not translated into the specific financial health metrics tracked by the quality ranking. Shares of AEO closed 0.88% higher at $24.18 apiece on Thursday, and it was up 0.58% in the pre-market on Friday. We'll see how AEO trades here today. This was making some pretty good short-term trades. I don't have a long-term view on this. I'd rather do something else, but clearly with the American Megastars advertising campaign, that often will explain the high momentum score that it has. All right, next story here. I guess we'll see if someone's surprised about this. Cathie Wood dumping Tesla and Meta. Here's what ARK Invest purchased instead. On Thursday, Cathie Wood-led ARK Invest made several significant trades, including selling shares of Tesla, Meta, and buying ARK21 shares Bitcoin ETF, ticker ARKB. These moves come amid an evolving market conditions and strategic shifts in the tech and crypto sectors. ARK Next Generation Internet ETF, ticker ARKW, that fund sold 7,478 shares of Tesla on Thursday. The sale comes as Tesla's stock closed at $454.53, marking a 1.74% increase. This transaction is valued at approximately $3.4 million. Despite recent gains, the Elon Musk-led company has underperformed compared to major indices like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, as noted by investor Gary Black. Black highlighted Tesla's advancements in autonomous driving as a potential catalyst for future growth. Hopefully it doesn't drive into the middle of a police standoff, particularly in the robotaxi sector. Despite the sale, Tesla remains ARK's top holding, with Wood's stake valued at $949.82 million, representing 12.36% of the portfolio by weight. Now, as far as the Meta trade goes, ARK Invest reduced its holdings in Meta by selling 11,056 shares through the ARK Innovation ETF, that's ticker ARKK, and 3,155 shares through the ARK KW ETF, ARKW. Meta stock closed at $661.53, which was up 3.43%, resulting in a total sale valuation of approximately $2.08 million. This transaction follows reports that Meta is planning significant budget cuts for its metaverse division. By the way, one of the best comments I saw here yesterday, I can't remember who delivered it, but it was fantastic. They're going to need a new ticker. They can't be Meta. They just cut the metaverse. What are they going to make it? Zuck? That was something else. That was a really good one. Meta stock rose after reports that the company plans steep budget cuts to its metaverse division, including reductions of up to 30% and possible layoffs as early as January. Executives were asked to find 10% cuts company-wide, but the metaverse group faced deeper trims amid weak adoption and heavy losses exceeding $70 billion since 2021. Most cuts were expected to hit virtual reality and Horizon worlds as Meta shifted its focus towards AI and related hardware. The company also bolstered its design and AI efforts by hiring longtime Apple executive Alan Dye. ARK Blockchain and FinTech Innovation ETF, that's ticker ARKF, and ARKW funds acquired a total of 52,200 ARK21 Bitcoin ETF shares. With the ETF closing at $30.73, this purchase is valued at around $1.6 million. This move aligns with ARK's continued interest in the cryptocurrency sector, even as Bitcoin experiences volatility. Recent market dynamics have seen Bitcoin's price fluctuate significantly, impacting related assets. Notably, on Monday, ARK had purchased ARKB shares worth nearly $2 million. Bitcoin was trading 0.94% lower at 92,500 over the past 24 hours, while Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap, slipped 1.36% to 3,164 in the same period. Just to kind of clean up the rest of this, some other key trades here. Lion, if you're out there, you might be interested in this. ARK ARKK purchased 158,951 shares of the Trade Desk, that's ticker TTD, and 45,373 shares through ARKW. So ARKK and ARKW both added the Trade Desk. They sold 176,353 shares of Iridium Communications through ARKK and another almost 43,000 through ARKQ and 12,000 through ARKX. They bought 28,409 shares of Pure Storage, which is one that we talked about recently in ARKW, and they purchased 42,377 shares of WeRide through ARKQ. All right, who's tired of AI chips? Nobody? Good, because we got another one here. Amazon's AI chip Trainium 2 hits multi-billion-dollar revenue run rate as CEO Andy Jassy unveils a 4x faster successor. Here we go. The AI wars are heating up. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy revealed more insight in the next generation of the company's AI chip Trainium 3 at the Amazon Web Services reInvent conference on Wednesday. Trainium 3, Amazon's AI chip that competes with NVIDIA, is 4 times faster and consumes less power than its predecessor, Trainium 2. The CEO also took to X to share some details about Trainium 2, which he said is already a multi-billion-dollar revenue run rate business with over 1 million chips in production and over 100,000 companies using it as their primary Bedrock usage. Bedrock is Amazon's AI app development tool that allows companies to select from various AI models. Quote, Trainium 3 will deliver at least 4.4 times more compute performance, 4 times greater efficiency, and almost 4 times more memory bandwidth than Trainium 2. Anyone that's interested in going through Andy Jassy's tweet thread here, link is in the story, which I just threw into the chat. Jassy credits Trainium 2's momentum to its superior price performance compared to other GPUs, saying it delivers better results at a lower cost, reflecting Amazon's broader strategy of its pricing its in-house technology more competitively. Additionally, Jassy spoke about NovaForge, which lets companies train earlier versions of frontier models with their own proprietary data, creating customized novellas tailored to their needs. He also mentioned that Amazon Web Services expect autonomous agents to become the primary way businesses gain value from AI, adding tools like Cairo Agent, DevOps Agent, and Security Agent to its lineup. Amazon's AI push has been gaining momentum with the Trainium 2 chips playing a pivotal role. The Trainium 2 chips were instrumental in the launch of Project Rainier, Amazon's supercomputer, which went live in October. The new Rainier system positioned Amazon Web Services to capture a large share of the booming AI training and inference demand, potentially adding billions in revenue growth through 2026, potentially. AWS CEO Matt Garman told CRN that the company's AI chip has been particularly successful with its cloud customers, with a significant portion of the billions in revenue coming from Anthropic, a startup backed by Amazon. Anthropic uses over 500,000 Trainium 2 chips in Project Rainier. Moreover, Amazon's partnership with NVIDIA has also been crucial to its AI chip success. At the Amazon Web Services reInvent, Amazon and NVIDIA deepened their long-running AI partnership by integrating NVIDIA's accelerated compute technology with Amazon Web Services' custom silicon and global cloud infrastructure. This strategy aims to provide enterprises with faster, more efficient options for training and deploying advanced AI systems. Here's a quick look at the proprietary scores that Amazon carries in the Benzinga Edge rankings. Okay, let's actually go back to Pro here real quick. Let's take a look at the Amazon chart. Hopefully I've got historical candles for this, and I do. Here's what it looks like. So given all of that, does sound like competition is really kind of heating up even more for a lot of these AI chips. This is what the Amazon chart looks like. I know it was not great yesterday, down 1.4%. It's actually been down a couple of days in a row here. I wish Izzy was with us. I'd ask him if he thinks it's going to bounce here. We've retraced about 50% of the down move. It is holding higher here in the pre-market. So one of the things we can probably do with a potential Amazon trade here is just mark off this pre-market range, see if we get a breakout, breakdown, and back test like we got yesterday on Path, which was just an amazing trade. I mean, that was the chart literally told you what to do on the Path trade yesterday. Maybe we get something like that here in Amazon. All right, folks. It's Friday, and that means it's time for Mark Putrino. Let's go ahead and play his intro and bring him on. Mark, good morning. Happy Friday. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Look, I'm sorry we missed you last week, but I'm glad you got your issue sorted out here. And I'll say this, Mark. Mark and I had a very brief discussion off camera here, and he told me he was rooting for a rematch of the Patriots Bears Super Bowl. Mark, I'll be honest with you, I'll take that. I will take that. Give me something other than the Chiefs, and obviously, give me my Bears. The Patriots have been extremely impressive, but the one place that I'm going to disagree with you in, I would like a repeat of that '85 Super Bowl.
Okay, Super Bowl shovel and all.
Well, yeah, what the hell? Let's shuffle it up again. I mean, maybe that'll be Bears tradition. If and when they win 40 years apart or whatever it takes, maybe they should make some silly day. Actually, there's a documentary on the Super Bowl shuffle. I haven't seen it yet, but I was listening to some of the local radio who was mentioning it. They said it's fantastic, and there's a bunch of stories that you didn't know. Like the actual session was scheduled for like 10 o'clock in the morning, but the Bears went out the night before. The first one started showing up at like noon. They still got it done. It's hilarious stuff. So I'm actually going to take a look at that here probably over the weekend. But
yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty interesting. They've tracked down like all the people that were in it, and every one of them was like, "Oh my God, what were we thinking, man? That was so terrible."
Yep.
And then there's one guy who lives on it. He's a farmer now. He lives on a farm, and they found him, and he's like, "What are you talking about? That's like the greatest video ever made in history."
Yeah, it's I mean, you watch it now and it does look a little dated, but I can't help but chuckle. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. In any case, Mark, what do you got for us today?
I have something that is kind of interesting. I will share my screen here. Am I sharing?
Yes, you are. Let me go ahead and throw that up here. Sorry. Thank you, producer. There we go. We got the Benzinga homepage.
All right. So I thought that this was pretty interesting. This AAII sentiment indicator that we look at every week. Now, the idea with this is sentiment is what we call a contrarian indicator. When people are extremely bullish and when there's a lot of exuberance going on, that's actually bad for the market, because what it means is that everyone invests their funds. If people are really bullish, what do? They invest. And then the market runs out of money, or it runs out of buyers. Everyone who wants to buy does so. At that point, the market can only go down. The opposite is true on the downside. When people are excessively bearish, it's actually good for the market. Back in April, right at the bottom, we had an excessive bearish reading of 62%. Now, the historical norm for bearish is 31%. This is an association, and they ask their members, are you bullish, bearish, or neutral? So that's where this comes from. Now, historical norms are 38% bullish, 31% neutral, 31% bearish. We are not at an extreme number yet, but we've had a pretty extreme shift here, right? We went from 32% to 44% bullish, which is a big jump. And we went from 43% to 31% bearish, which is a big drop. So if you look down here, the last time we had a bullish reading as high as we are now was back on October 8th. And if we go and we look at the S&P from October 8th, that was right before we had this big drop here. So this was November 8th, right?
October 8th, yeah.
Oh, sorry, October 8th. Yeah, so this is October 8th right there, right before this big drop. So a couple of things to look at here. We're getting close to all-time highs. We're basically at them. So we got to just see if we can exceed these all-time highs. The financial sector is going to be really key to watch here, because once again, it's back up to this important resistance level here. So not doing much this morning, but if financials can't get through here based on the sentiment, I think we're going to start to see some kind of profit taking. And I think we might get to the Fed meeting, and then the Fed comes down and cuts rates, and then that could be the catalyst for the market to move lower. And it has nothing to do with the rate cut. It just has to do with the sentiment, where if we have this big shift to bullishness, that means people are investing their funds. And when that runs out, we can only go down. So I don't think it's like a screaming sell signal or anything like that, but it is just something to keep an eye on.
Mark, I love it when you jump on here on a Friday and you make me look smart. That's one of my favorite things in the world, because I had said when we opened up here that we're coming up to this Fed meeting this could be a sell the news. Even if the market is pricing in the cut, which we all kind of think is happening here, you still might see a sell the news event there. You did a really good job outlining the sentiment there. One of the other things for that sentiment, one of the things we have been discussing in happy hour is that it's December and everyone's jovial and it's the holidays, and sentiment just in general about things is higher here. A lot of people are expecting a Santa Claus rally or a positive month in December, and maybe that plays into that figure there. But really good job comparing that to the last time it was at this level, and then what happened shortly after that. Furthermore, just to kind of tie this together with a bow, one of the other things that we look at often is the VIX. And the thought process is that when this thing moves into a 14 handle again, it's currently at 1550, 1589 here in the pre-market. When that moves into a 14 handle, we are likely going to bounce in the VIX, which should correlate to a sell-off. So it looks like a lot of these data points here are kind of lining up together.
Yeah. Yeah. And, markets go down too.
And that's good. That's a
People
healthy thing.
forget.
I think people get way too caught up in everything always being bullish and always being sunny. And that's not how the real world works. And that's not how the market works.
Right. Right. Yeah. So financials, we were testing that resistance. Healthcare has had a pretty decent kind of a pullback. So we'll just have to see here. This could be a situation where what was the resistance level turns into the support level, and that sets the stage sometimes for the next move higher. So I think what happens with a lot of people, at least a lot of the people that I talk to, they are really focused on tech and they forget that there are other parts of the market. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was when we were going through that tech correction, people were saying to me, "Oh, the market's crashing," and so forth and so on. And the healthcare stocks were making all-time highs. So if one of the major sectors in the market is making all-time highs, the market is not crashing. Maybe particular parts of the market are going down, but it's not a market crash. But that's what happens when people get too caught up. And I think
I
it's
agree.
kind of interesting. I don't know what to make of it yet, but the two biggest stocks in the market are Nvidia and Microsoft. And these things are pretty far away from all-time highs. So Nvidia is roughly about 13%, and then Microsoft is about roughly about the same, about 13% from all-time highs. So I'm trying to figure out if this is a sign of weakness or strength that you
Mhm.
have the market near all-time highs, but your two biggest stocks are kind of trending down. And I think it's a sign of strength.
So I'm glad that you
So
said that, because it feels to me like we're actually seeing rotation out of these names. We're not seeing indiscriminate selling of the two market leaders. Rather, we're seeing money rotate into undervalued sectors. And it's coming at a time where traders often prepare for the year ahead. So to me, I agree with you. This seems healthy to me.
yeah, yeah. So should be an interesting couple weeks.
Do you have
Um,
any, really quickly, just to put you on the spot here, and I'm sorry about doing this, but not really. Do you have any gut feeling on what's going to happen when the calendar flips over to 2026?
um, I think that there's a real good chance we're going to be seeing some selling. Yeah,
That's
I mean that's what I think. I'm not saying I don't think the market's going to have a major crash or anything like that, but there's going to be portfolio positioning until we go into the end of the year, and maybe some window dressing. And then window dressing is like basically when money managers sloppily buy their stocks that they own so they can kind of jack them up as we
mhm.
go into the end of the year, which is it's illegal and unethical, but it gets done. Trust me, I've seen it a million times. And so yeah, that's my call. I would say I'm kind of short term neutral, intermediate term bearish, long term, I mean, assuming a civilization doesn't collapse, the market will be higher in the future.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It does look like I'm not seeing any news headline here for today on this, but it does look like the market's slipping here. So maybe it's you and I causing the market to slip a little bit here. 684.48 on the SPY. We're pulling on the ES, Dow, and NASDAQ.
Yeah, so it's been pretty quiet over the last couple of days. This is the S&P. It's really kind of hasn't done much. At least the broad market's been kind of quiet. So, um, things I was looking at, I think that maybe it might be time to start looking at some of these cryptos.
Okay.
I think because they've just been crushed so badly. I know this isn't a crypto,
Well,
but
this
I
is a
was looking at.
minor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I talked about this. Oh, I wasn't here last week actually, but this is the type of thing that I like to look for here when I'm looking for trading ideas. So we get this big sell off when we get oversold, and we get to a price level that had been support before. Okay. Now it's very common to see support at levels that were previously support. And this is due to psychology. There are people who sold at the bottom here who regret doing so because as soon as they're done selling, the thing blasts off. And a lot of them tell themselves, if this ever gets back to where I can buy my shares back at the same price I sold them at, I'm going to. So when it drops all the way back to the same level that had been support before, remorseful sellers placing buy orders can make the support become support again. And then, of course, being oversold, it draws buyers into the market. And you can see we've got a pretty nice rebound going on here.
Now it looks like you're halfway through that range up to the next resistance area there. So I guess I would ask, is this something where did you miss entry around $10 where that clean level was now that the stock's 12 and a half bucks? Or is this still something that looks like maybe you can collect the rest of that if it moves up to that resistance area in the 14 handle?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
target. Yeah, my target is up around 1490. And this is an example of where what was support might become resistance. And this is for the opposite emotion. This is buyer's remorse. People buy here, and when the price goes higher, they think they're the next Steve Cohen and they're going to be a great hedge fund manager and this is easy. But when the price drops through the support, a lot of them experience buyer's remorse and they say, if this gets back to where I get out at break even, I'm going to. So there's a really good chance that there is going to be some resistance there. Now, the trigger for this trade, what actually made me place the trade, was when the reversion started. So the way I look at it is if you get something that's really oversold and it's at support, it's like you're at a race and the starter has said on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go yet. The go was when the RSI line turned back above the lower threshold here. So that was the go, and this was the day that I got
Okay.
into it.
So that's really really glad that you explained it that way, because one of the things when we do technical analysis here and we look at like moving average levels, I've often said, and I've learned this over the experience, and people that have been doing this longer than me have told me the same thing. It's actually a better setup if you dip below the moving average that you're looking for as support and then recapture it in short order. It's actually better than bouncing clean off of the level itself, which I always thought was interesting. You're basically describing the exact same thing there with the RSI. This is a way to kind of put the trade percentage of success more in your favor by waiting for it to kind of give you all of these signals that the trade is on here. You got the support area, you got the bounce, now you have the RSI confirming, dipping below that 30 and then recapturing it, giddy up.
Yeah, exactly. If you wait for the reversal to start, I think it puts the odds much better
Yeah.
in your favor, because just because something is oversold and at support doesn't mean it can't keep going down. But if you wait for the reversal to start, then there's a much better chance that you're going to stack the odds in your favor. And it gives you a pretty clear place to think about getting stopped out. So an initial stop out would be, all right, it was a head fake, we reversed and we actually broke the support. So that would be your initial place for a stop out, just to take a small loss and move on. Remember, the difference between successful traders and unsuccessful traders is successful traders take small losses and unsuccessful traders take
Yeah.
big losses, right? So it's like golf. If you can eliminate the blowups, if you hit your 3-iron and hook the ball and have it still in the rough where you can maybe get it onto the green, that's an acceptable bad shot. If you take your driver and hook it and it goes 50 yards into the woods, well, your round's over.
Well,
So,
at least that hole is over. I've been there plenty of times. So that's a really good point. All right.
yeah, so if we can avoid the blowups, the good trades will take care of themselves.
Where do you play in Westchester? Matt is asking. I don't know if you want to say that, but
Uh,
you're
uh,
welcome to.
well, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but Wingfoot, Quaker Ridge.
All right, that's it, Mark. In 2026, during the summer, I'm coming out to visit. We're going Wingfoot. I've decided. I've decided.
Yeah, Quaker Ridge is pretty cool because it's right across the street from Wingfoot, and it was designed by the same guy. So it's very, very, very similar to Wingfoot. Um, and the legend is that in the Battle of White Plains, George Washington camped on Quaker Ridge. It's where the Quakers used to live. And on the ninth hole, there's this old tree that's petrified that supposedly is where George Washington camped under the tree. I mean, the stump is like 10 feet around. It's enormous. So I was playing there one time, and it's a par three, and I was going to hit my 8 iron, and the caddy's like, hit your 7 iron. So I hit the ball, I hit my 7 iron. It just went over a bunker. My 8 iron would have been in the bunker, so the caddy was right. We get up to the hole. My ball is about 2 feet past the hole, and you can see by the ball mark where it landed. I literally missed a hole in one by about
You
six
tipped that
inches.
caddy, didn't you?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I was gonna,
Probably.
yeah, you did. Okay, I've got really good news for you. The producer is in and Matt is in, so we have a foursome for next year. So we'll follow up on we'll follow up on that as we get closer. All right. Are there any other stocks that you want to take a look at? Because I could talk golf all day, but we probably bore some folks here. Are there any other stocks that you're looking
Um,
at here today, or should we take some from the chat?
yeah, let's just take some
Okay.
questions. At Wingfoot, in the attic, they have a set of Babe Ruth's golf clubs. Think about
See,
how much
this
those
this
things
is the
must be
other
worth.
thing. Like, you're a history buff. I want to do this for the golf, but also for the history lessons and the thing like the tree on the course that he might have camped under. I mean, that's awesome. That's really awesome
Yeah.
stuff. So, okay. All right, chat. What kind of stocks do you want to see Mark break down here? Do you have any questions about any of the material that he's already covered or the stocks that he's already covered? Do you want to see some new stocks here? Let's see. Kenneth is saying BMNR, this is that Tom Lee Ethereum joint.
Yeah. This thing has caused a lot of pain.
Sure has.
Oh, look at that. Coming back. Wow, it's a nice move coming back here. Yeah, well, I mean, this thing is basically going to be tied to what Ethereum does. And Ethereum is, yeah, so it's coming back a little bit. So look at where Ethereum found the bottom. This is a good lesson here. One of the things about reading charts is it doesn't matter what security you are looking at, because what we're looking at when we look at a chart is the psychology of the people that are doing the trading. And whether you trade stocks or commodities or cryptos, people experience the same emotions. Now, notice here, when we got this sell off, where did we find support? Well, the same level that had been resistance. Now, this is due to people sell here, and at first it seems like a good trade, but then the resistance breaks, and a lot of them tell themselves, I made a mistake. If this drops back to the same price I sold at, I'm going to buy my crypto back. So that's why we have support here. Now we break the support and go lower, and look at where we find support again, the same level that had been a resistance level, right? So it's not a coincidence that this is where this thing makes these turns. Now, if we look up here at the top, where did we find a top? Was it just a coincidence? And the answer is no. It was the same level that was a top back in November of 21. So this is what we call market memory. And I'll show you a pretty amazing example of market memory that I came across. Market memory means a stock that's in a level that's important can stay important for a long time. So this is Gap Stores here. And
Look at that.
this $30 level has been resistance for 25 years. Isn't that incredible?
That
And then
is
look down
incredible.
here. And then the support around 6.5. This is September of 01. So this is your 9/11 crash. And then the last time we were down there was July of 23. So 22 years later, and it finds a bottom at the same level. So this could be one of the best examples of market memory I've ever seen.
That's crazy. I tell you what, that would be wild to see a break above that on the that $30
Yeah.
level and then a hold. I know it reverses a lot when it does it seems anyway.
It's hard to believe, but it's hard to believe. Like if someone was just to tell you this, you wouldn't believe it. But but look at the chart. I mean, the chart's not lying. It where people bought back here, held on to their shares for all these years, and were trying to get out here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's probably more likely that some kind of computer program recognizes that it's at a former top, but pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
All right. This
All
is
right.
another really good one. Let's do Lilly, LLY.
And there's a lot of interesting things going on in industrials that we can look at before I'm
Okay.
done.
We'll do that next if you want.
All right. So what do we got here? Yeah, I kind of mark this as a support level right around. I mean, not surprisingly, right around 1,000. Right? There's the psychology of maybe a little bit higher, 1,010 or so forth. There, and the reason why I say that is when a stock is climbing, certain price levels gain more importance than others, and it depends how long it stayed at them. Like if we look at here, say 978, it just blew right through it like it wasn't there. But if we get up to here, this $1,010 level, it was basically in play for 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row was the opening price. Most volume trades on the open
Yep.
and the close. So there's a fair amount of people who sold here who regret doing so. And they're buying their shares back over here, which is why we found support here. So it's not a coincidence that this is where the support was. So I think that this thing has had such a powerful run that it's just some profit taking, which to me, I don't know, seems like it's probably over at this point.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Lilly. How about Google? And you can take your pick of GOOG or GOOGL. GOOGL was the one suggested in the chat, but you can pick whichever one you want.
Yeah, I usually look at
Okay.
this one. Now when I look at this to me just looks like it's kind of neutral here. Just kind of been going
Yeah.
sideways. Really
That
not
that
much
right there
going on.
looks like it really needs to hold. What is that? 317? That line right? 311 looks like it really needs to hold that. Otherwise, it's probably dipping back beneath 300. You got a gap fill right beneath that. You got another support area down there at 291.
Yeah, that green line was there because I was talking with someone about where to have their sell stop on it. So I think in general, it makes sense to have your sell stops just below support. So a sell stop a sell order that you put in below the market. Most people, it's kind of counterintuitive because you tend to think of like, oh, the stock's at 318, I'll want to sell it if it gets to 320 or 330 or so forth. But a sell stop is something you put in under the market. And the idea is that, all right, if it gets to say 308, it's going to keep going lower. So the sell stop is a way to get out to protect yourself, especially if you have a profit on a stock and you're wondering what to do to get rid of it or to get out of it, I should say. You could just think about riding it up. And if it reverses by X percent, or in this case, it reverses below an important short term level, well, that's where you sell it. And going back to what I said before, good traders take small losses, bad traders take big losses. So something for people to think about.
Okay, I've got more tickers unless you've got some you want to do.
Actually, let's take a look at Netflix after
Perfect, because that was
I
one of the
didn't see the
tickers being
details
asked
of.
for. They got the deal news this morning. That's perfect.
Yeah, I didn't really go into see the details of the news as of yet, but now, not surprisingly, look at where this is trading. Same level that was resistance, right? And this is a psychological thing. People like nice psychological levels, right? $100.
And as far
So
as the news, it looks like Netflix is going to pay 82.7 billion in this deal.
yeah. So here's you can see again, right? We found, at least for now, found support at the former support level, or sorry, former resistance level. Really clear support down here. Support becomes resistance. So if you know where these important price levels are on your stocks, it's going to make your life much easier. Because when we get to these things, you tend not to stay at them for too long. Like here, you literally get to a former support level. You were there for one day, probably just literally a matter of hours. Here we're just there for a
Yeah, I
couple
mean this
days.
this to me looks like a sure retest of 100. What happens there, I don't know, but I mean, and I know we're only 3 points away. Real quick here, ZV is asking, is the market going to like that news? Yassine says Netflix made a bad deal. So here's my question to you. With any of these stocks that make a deal like this, especially when they spend this much money, how do you look at this? Like, looks like the stock's selling off because they're going to send money out, right? They are saying that this is going to be accretive to them in about 2 years, and they're really going to see some strength 3 years in. Do you view the pullback as an opportunity to buy in this case, or is there other stuff that you're looking for? Are you just looking at the chart?
Well, when there's news out and a stock opens up, down, or up or down big, a lot of times it's an overreaction. Now, I don't know if this is or not, but this is something to be looking for. The way it works in the institutional trading world is that the traders are all in early, like 6 or 7 in the morning. The analysts come strolling in at like 8 or 8:30. So then they go and they have their meeting and they do their research and they sit around the table and they talk about like, oh, is this a good deal? Is it a bad deal? And so forth. And if it turns out that they're like, yeah, this is a bad deal, this sell off is warranted, at that point, the stock's not going to come back, or it's going to trend lower over the course of the day. But if they come to the conclusion that the move lower is overdone and it's an overreaction, there can be a reversal, and those reversals tend to happen in the mid morning, like around 10 or 10:30, because that's when these meetings wrap up and people have made their decisions as to what they're going to do. So I would say keep an eye on it, and if around 10 or 10:30 it starts to trend higher, then there's a good chance that this sell-off is an overreaction and it'll trend higher into the rest of the day. But if it doesn't come back, then it's probably just dead money for the time
Okay,
being.
so interesting. Okay, good stuff there on Netflix. SoFi would be the other one that I'd suggest, but I'll go any direction you want here. SoFi had an offering.
Well, okay, we could always look at SoFi. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't get asked as much about SoFi anymore as I did up until a month or two
Really?
ago.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
guess
guess
that's
just
good. It was cheaper. It was in the teens. So maybe you were getting asked about it when it had a lower price here. It looks like it did kind of stall out around this 30 handle.
yeah. So it's still, I mean, it's down a bit, but I mean, it's down pretty significantly from a percentage point of view, but it's still within this range here. So that's where we're
Yeah,
trading
what, seven
right
twenty
there.
seven 40 in the pre-market? Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things I saw that was kind of interesting was this industrial sector, right? We're getting close here to a potential breakout. And there's just some interesting looking companies in here for trade ideas. Like there's this Genrac, caught my eye for some reason.
The
Yeah. So,
generator play. This is a hurricane play.
yeah.
And of course, we didn't have any
Yeah. I have
major
a breaking
ones make
trend.
US landfall this year, so this stock down on it.
Well, here's an example of look at where we hit, right? We got resistance right at the former support level. Now, remember, people who bought here are trying to sell over here. It's buyer's remorse. If you get above resistance, we call that a breakout. Now, resistance is a large group of buyers. It's a price level where there's a lot of people that want to sell. Yeah, I said buyers, but I meant sell. Resistance is a large group of people that want to sell. If you can get above that, we say that's a breakout. And the reason why that's bullish is because you can infer that the sellers who created the resistance are gone. They've left the market. So a breakout is a graphical illustration of supply leaving a market. And when you take supply out, meaning sellers, it sets the stage for the demand, meaning the buyers, to move the price higher, because if new buyers come in, they're going to have a hard time finding sellers. So a lot of times when something breaks a resistance level, it tends to make a rapid move higher. So I think this is pretty interesting here to watch for a potential breakout. It's good to get off the beaten path. Everyone looks at the same stocks, but I don't think anyone ever in all the years I've been doing this has said to me like, "Hey, what do you think of Eaton
Yeah.
Corporation?" And this is kind of interesting. This doesn't look as interesting, but it's at a bottom. It's held former resistance level. Yeah, so look at that. So what was support
This,
becomes
yeah.
resistance, and then what was resistance becomes support. And the brokers are looking pretty impressive. Morgan Stanley made an all-time high. Wells Fargo.
Yeah, the financials were strong. Goldman Sachs made a recent all-time high.
And you got to think that if the brokers are doing really well, that's got to be a good sign for the market. But I'm still a little I don't know if concern is the right word, but I think we got to pay attention to that big shift in sentiment that we talked about.
Okay.
So, I don't think I don't think like a sell-off is imminent or anything like that, but we're starting to get into the later innings here.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we probably have a nice green December, probably have a Santa Claus rally, and then we'll see what happens after the calendar flips. Maybe we have a sell the news event. So, all right, Mark, appreciate you.
All right, everyone. Okay, all right. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Take care. And the Patriots are on bye this week, so who are you rooting for when the Patriots are on bye?
Well, whoever plays the Chiefs.
Okay.
And whoever plays the Giants.
Well, the right answer was
I used to root against the Jets, but they're so pathetic that
you rooted against them into the ground, Mark. Now, the right answer to the question that I was asking you was the Bears, but you didn't say that.
Okay, I'm going with the Bears.
There we go. Mark, enjoy your weekend. We'll catch up with you next week, right? All right, that is everyone. Mark Putrino, everybody. Really good stuff there. Appreciate all of you, too, on the interaction there. A lot of good ideas there as well. Mark is also one of my favorite guests. He is fantastic with his time. And I'll tell you what, I know he kind of laughed and he was doing a lot of smiling here today. But you best believe I'm going to press him about playing at Wingfoot next year. You better believe that. Let's see if I can drag the producer out there, too, play some golf at Wingfoot. That'd be something else, wouldn't it? That'd be a lot of fun. All right. Mark's departure leaves room for 13, but 13 only has an empty chair right now. Should we say, I was going to bring on the empty chair and say hello to the chair. Instead, we'll say hello to 13. Good morning. Happy Friday, boss. How you doing?
Hello. It won't say hi back. I just had to go and open my window a little bit because, it's a little bit dark in here.
Yeah, no, hello. That's totally fine. But I mean, empty chair. That's if anyone's watched a Twitch stream a time or two, you've seen an empty chair and you've probably yelled protect in the chat as well. Okay. 13, where do you want to start here today? Movers. SMX, anything else? Where do you want to start?
Wherever you want. I mean, like, what's the one that's run the most? Wheeler?
Let's go over to the movers tool. Actually, SMX is on top right now.
Okay.
By about 19%, excuse me.
Okay. So
all right. So we'll start with SMX here. Y'all should know about Mo. That's fun. Okay. We've been talking about SMX a lot here. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we had another discussion with this in happy hour yesterday. This is, I could say for certain, this stock is worth nowhere near $300. The reason it's making this move is because it is extremely low float. It's being manipulated and pushed around. Now, as long as you know that going in, then I think you can probably trade this accordingly. This is not something that I am going to play. And I was asking yesterday if any of you have played some of these ridiculous movers and actually been hurt by them yet. Because when you do, it will change the way that you look at this. Now, if that warning's not enough and you need to experience it yourself, Godspeed and good luck. Nonetheless, there is opportunity here if you're able to make a successful trade. I'll say right off the bat here, I am absolutely not touching this in either direction here today. Now you can see we traded up yesterday, we traded up in the after hours, and we had a super spike, which is definitely what I'm going to call this, into the 430 handle here this morning. And we've pulled back over 130 points from that high. So no new news here. The stock put out like 9 PRs yesterday, 9 PRs the day before. One of the things that we were saying in happy hour is that this type of stuff should get looked at by the SEC. There's clearly something going on here. So just be very, very careful with this. Now, I'll get off my soapbox here, 13, and let you, what do you see here in the chart? Obviously, there's no news here. This thing, let's take a quick peek at the short interest. Does have high short interest at above 20%, days to cover still one. What do you think here, 13?
Well, you just had Mr. Putrino on, and he tells us about how, charts represent market psychology, I think you're just looking at gambling psychology here. I was asked about this yesterday. What I thought about this, and I about taking a position in this. I said, that's up to you. I think this is a gamble, and I just left it at that. That's all I think this is. If you want to take the risk and maybe see if it prints higher back up towards 300, 400, 500, it's going to have to completely be your decision, because there's nothing fundamentally sound about this. I know I'm talking about that in this environment where these valuations of these other companies are still pretty crazy, but this doesn't make any sense. It's being manipulated and pushed around, as Ryan said. And if you can figure out how to trade this, then you might make a lot of money, and that'd be great. But for me, this is not the kind of thing that I'd want to take a position in, especially up here, where it's already kind of gone on a run, and we're kind of cooling off a little bit. We've lost. Let's see, we're kind of just above the VWAP actually right now, trying to regain some levels here, but volume doesn't look great. And I honestly don't know what's going to happen with this. It might look like it's going to start to roll over, and then all of a sudden some whale comes in and drops a whole bunch of money and bids this thing right back up, because you have these crazy size spreads, and it's very illiquid. So you could get a large outsized move if something like that were to happen. Or alternatively, you might have somebody just completely take out their position that jumped into this yesterday and said, "Oh, look, I'm up all hundreds of this percent," and they just completely wipe the stock out. I don't want to deal with this thing, but I just want to let everybody know you can make a lot of great money in this if you want to take the risk, but it's going to have to be 100% your decision.
Yeah. Very, very well said, 13. I am going to avoid this one today. We've got plenty of other stocks that we're going to be able to take a look at. Appreciate that. Zach saying, can't Ondas do that for 3 days, go to 400? So
sure.
I know. Well, hang on a second. I know where you're coming from. I too would like that, Zach. I would be very, very happy. You might not see me for a week as I take a vacation to somewhere remote. But what I will say in terms of, can it do that? No. As a matter of fact, it can't. This is a stock that has a sub-million float. Ondas, I think, is like 90 million or something off the top of my head, which that's also one of the reasons why we discuss the short interest, the float, how many shares it trades on average versus how many it's doing today, because that type of thing will tell you what's possible here. The only reason that this stock is doing what it's doing is because it has a super low float and it's being manipulated. So a stock that has a heavy float, no, it can't do this. It can't do this, not on this type of move. And frankly, as far as like my own trading goes, I'm not a gambler. I gamble on sports, and I not all that profitable gambling on sports. It's more fun than anything else with a couple of outsized big wins. This is gambling to me, and I try not to fold gambling into my investment. That's how you breed bad habits. That's how you make further mistakes, and I don't want to do any of that. I would much rather take the slow and steady wins the race approach. Go ahead.
You're gonna get more influence on the gambling side when it comes to trading these stocks, because, and this is a little bit of an aside, CNBC is going to start having prediction markets incorporated with their graphics and everything. So you're going to start to see. I think that's a very bad idea. It's gonna make people think differently about risk, and it's going to change their financial practice. I think it's probably one of the worst things they could do for their viewer. Folks, don't try and mix gambling with this market. Just don't. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Anne Marie, good morning, Anne Marie. It's great to see you. Help us understand what the word float means. Okay, and you know what? That's really great. We throw these terms around. I know for some of us that have been doing this for a while, it becomes second nature, but maybe I should talk about that. A company's float refers to how many shares are available for the public to trade. So I think that's shares that are outstanding, less restricted stock from the outstanding lot. So what this means is that if the stock is if the float is low, if there's less available shares for the public to trade, your 1,000 share order is going to be more impactful than it would on a stock that has a higher float. And when you extrapolate that through the entire market, you start to get these extreme moves. So when we say low float, just know that it means the available shares for trading by removing restricted stock from the outstanding shares. And this is what you have access to. The lower the number, the more extravagant these moves can be. And it can work for you, but it can very much work against you. So Emery, really good reminder there. Really good reminder there. The Veggie Girl says, this is exactly why I watch your channel. You tell it straight and are wanting people to make money instead of hype tracking. And I used to be a hype tracker. I used to be like, okay, what are the hype stocks today? I'm going to try and trade them. And if all goes well, I'm going to be able to buy a Lamborghini. It took me about a year to realize that that is a fool's game. Write that down if you're taking notes. Fool's game to try and play some of that for the purpose of making a bunch of money. It's just there's a right way to do this, and there's a kind of a loose cannon way to do this. And I want you all to make money. And if you guys make $1 million off this stock, and you said, Ryan, you're an idiot, I made $1 million, I'm going to look at you and say congratulations. But what's going to happen if you lose 50 grand of your $60,000 trading account because you're messing with this? I'm not going to say I told you so, because I want you to get back on your feet, but I told you so. And we'll leave it at that. Okay. Next stock here is GURE. We'll do Wheeler next. Okay. GURE is Gulf Resources. The stock was about 480 yesterday. It spiked above 24 here today. Don't worry. We'll check on the float on this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the news here. I don't have anything fresh. In fact, the last piece of news I have was from Tuesday morning, December 2nd. Stock is up 80% on the back of that. No news. Quick peek at the short interest. Negligible. There's nothing here. Literally, there's less than 8,000 shares total held short as of the last reading here. That's 0.1% of the float there. If I go over to the overview tab here, 1.1 million shares in the float. So still more than SMX, but still extremely low. On average, stock trades less than 50,000 shares per day. But today, we've traded 2.3 million shares. So going back with the lesson we were just talking about with float, when a stock that trades on average 50,000 shares all of a sudden sees 2+ million of its shares traded, you can expect volatility in both directions of the price. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. Stock's up 83%. Now, technicals 13, what do you see here?
Well, we had a discussion yesterday about what is now being called crack trading, where you might see some of these out of nowhere moves in really low float stocks because of just the nature of how December is. There's a lot fewer traders and investors, watching the market. Lots of them are on vacation, so it's going to create some illiquidity. But then you have something like this low share count that it has, and just a small amount can send it up or down. So we're going to see a lot of these names probably throughout the rest of the month, where it doesn't make any sense why they're moving, except for the fact they've got a very low float and are easy to push around. And this one, like you said, the last piece of news was that they regained NASDAQ compliance. Now, the company does have some revenue, but they also don't make money. It's a net loss company. They do have some cash, but they're probably going to end up having to raise some more soon. I mean, they just had NASDAQ compliance regained. So I don't know that this is necessarily the greatest company. It comes out of, I think this is a company that owns 4 other smaller Chinese companies. So don't have a whole lot on the fundamental side. And I think this is just one that got latched onto and got sent up in the after hours yesterday, or maybe it was in the pre-market. We started getting some movement yesterday, and then we got this move here in the pre-market. As far as the technicals go, we have not been able to recapture VWAP since we lost it around 7 a.m. We're trading beneath the 65 EMA, and unless we can recapture that soon, I think we could end up going lower, back down towards the 200 EMA.
Okay, really good stuff there. Ed is asking, is there a tool that can help find low float stocks?
Well, guess what?
Guess what? There sure is. It's called Benzinga Pro. And I can actually just really quickly show you how easy it is in Benzinga Pro. If I go into the scanner here and let me actually type in float instead of share, because there's going to be more of that. And I type in share float here, and then I click over and I do a maximum of 2M. Here is all of your low float stocks. Look what's at the top of the list. SMX.
Yeah,
SMX. Go ahead.
Lion's absolutely right. We share opportunity when we see a good trade, but to be made. But you've got to do your own DD, and that's absolutely true. Yep. This is you clicking the button to buy or sell. This is you deciding to get in or out of the stock. It has to be all up to you. But the great thing about this channel, the great thing about our community, is that we are looking for these things, that these stocks that have this opportunity to make the moves. And it's just about the timing at that point. So as long as we put these things on your radar, you have a much better chance of success in this financial market.
Yeah. Well said. Okay. All right. Next here is Wheeler. That's ticker WHLR. This is Wheeler Real Estate. I feel like this is becoming a show semi-regular. We talk about this one fairly frequently. Stock was about $3 yesterday. Today we traded up towards 8. We've already pulled back to 5.5. We lost VWAP in the process. The volume is contracting a little bit here. See what we had. So it looks like yesterday morning we had a couple of forms here. Wheeler completes a stock exchange with preferred shares. Again, we had this stuff in the morning, so the reaction here today doesn't necessarily seem to be on that. We are getting some volume to flow in here. If I do a quick peek at the short interest on this name, 25.71% of the float is shorted. I have a float reading of 636,000 shares. Let me check the float here real quick, because float definitely seems to be the word of the day. I know Frank Holland does a word of the day on Worldwide Exchange very early in the morning. It looks like our word of the day here is float. Here's what Dilution Tracker shows for this. Here's another reason why this can be dangerous. Float, of all of the data points out there, float is one of them that is notoriously difficult to pin down. Some are estimated, some are taken from the filings. Here's an example. Yahoo lists the float of Wheeler Real Estate at 31 million. FinViz says it's 0.83 million. Wall Street Journal says it's 53 million, and Dilution Tracker, which does a really good job staying on top of this stuff, says it's 0.92 million. So this is a low float stock. It behaves like a low float stock. Our reading here is 636,000. So it's actually the lowest of all of those. So this is definitely a low float stock. We're seeing crazy price movement. 13, what do you think on this one?
So the news that's moving this today that I could locate is that you had mentioned the securities agreement. This is basically where they issued common stock to an investor, 56,000 shares of its common stock, in exchange for 4,000 of their Series D preferreds and 8,000 of their Series B preferreds. Yeah, this thing goes into the Series D. I don't know if it goes even further than that, but that could be one reason why you're seeing these different floats, because they have these outstanding preferred convertibles. I think that the Ds are convertibles. Yes, the Ds are, and I think that the Bs are as well. So I think that some of those higher floats might just be calculating the potential aggregate if these were converted, but I'm just guessing, and I don't know why there's such a discrepancy. But that's the reason why this is moving today. It looks like they're trying to reduce or eliminate some debt by getting rid of some of those Series B and D shares and preferreds, and then just issuing the common to the investor. So that is the reason why we have this move today. 25% of the float short, like you said. Company has cash and revenue, but is not consistently profitable. As far as the chart goes, we were trading above the VWAP just about 15, 20 minutes ago. We've lost it, and we're still continuing to decline a little bit here. But if there is some support coming, I see some in the 510 to the 515 area, and then right beneath that, you have the 65 EMA. We're still continuing to leak into the open here. So until we find some footing, I wouldn't touch this one until we can actually, go a little bit sideways, maybe find some kind of a base where the price can reverse.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Wheeler, ticker WHLR. Next here is another one that we've traded before. This is Jeff Brands. It's back. Ticker JFBR. Jeff Brands shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a definitive distribution agreement with Scannery. I'm actually not sure what that is. Looks like this ramped a little bit in the afternoon yesterday, held its gains through the after hours, which is not always a guarantee, and now it's ramping here today on volume. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 4.6% of the float is shorted. 1 day to cover. And the float reading that I have, nobody should be surprised, 674,000. The theme of the day seems to be low float, and Jeff Brands fits into that as well. 13, what do you think here? Ticker JFBR. I'm actually going to step away real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, I didn't cover this one, but let's look at the chart real quick before I dig into some of the other fundamentals here. This is trying to recapture its VWAP right now. It's been getting support from the 9 EMA this morning, kind of riding that and the VWAP up here all the way up to 426 before we turned around started selling a little bit. MACD is indicating that some of this momentum has slowed, but let's just see what happens as we approach the open here, which we're going to get in about 10 minutes anyway. So that we could continue sideways. Maybe we're starting to regain our footing here, but I would need to see a recapture that VWAP to indicate to me that we're going to press higher. And right now, this is trying to recapture it. It hasn't done so yet. So I'd be watching for a recap of the VWAP to be the first thing I need to see in order for me to be feel confident that this is going to more to the upside. As far as the fundamentals go, looks like they got $6 million in cash. Don't really have a read on their quarterly report. Let's look at their annual. So it looks like they seem to lose, what is this, about $7 million a year. And then float, very low float, so really easy to push around. And this is apparently a company that uses Amazon to sell products. I don't know enough about this one other than what I said about the technicals. Let's see if we can get that recapture of the VWAP. What's the short interest like here on this one? 4.6%. 1 day discovered, not a big deal there. So this if we can recapture VWAP and hold these levels, we might see some more upside. But this is looking like we're still selling into the open here. So this is another one I think I'd wait on to find some footing before we start taking positions for a trade.
Okay. Good stuff there. 13. Next, did you have any other ones on the list that you covered?
No. We just it was just those first two. Usually, I was just digging into Wheeler a little bit more because we didn't have a whole lot of news except forms, and I had to kind of read through that a little bit.
The next one here is ACAN. This is a Conda. This was a penny stock yesterday. Looks like it ran into some resistance here at 140, both in the after hours and in the regular session. Was there news on this one? No, nothing here on this one. Let's see. Is it low float? Yeah. Under a million shares. So it seems to me like what's going on here is that anything with a low float is being surfaced or searched for. And then they're just running it. And that's the crack trading that we talked about in Happy Hour and that you mentioned earlier here today.
And look at what's going on with the con. Remember the parameters for the search? I used Benzinga AI to find those names for me. This is not one of them that was the result, but it's doing something that I was looking for, and it's recapturing its 20-day SMA. We're trading above it right now. Now, whether or not it holds it today, I don't know. But when we start, if I've been looking for stocks that have had some really big, steep declines that don't have a very large float, that are just now starting to recapture their 20-day SMAs, because it seems like when the stock starts doing that after a drop that like this one's had, it's the beginning of recovery mode, and it could lead to further upside. So these are the kind of stocks that we want to try to look for and just keep on our radar for crack trading, because we're going to get moves like this from them eventually. They're going to be sought out, they're going to be latched onto, and they're going to be driven up very, very short term. And that's when we want to be ready to try and take these trades.
Okay. Good stuff there on ACAN. Here's an actual stock. Possible gap and go setup here today, too. I think we've talked about this before. When I play gap and goes, the moving average that I use is the 9 EMA. Across back through the 9 EMA to the downside is the signal for my exit trigger. This is ticker RBRK. This is Rubrik, a cybersecurity company. Shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 financial results and issued Q4 guidance above estimates. Also, the company raised its full year 26 guidance above estimates. We had an impulse pop in the after hours yesterday, a little bit of profit taking, a slow grind higher, a little bit of a slow grind higher today, and a move up into the open. So what I would want to see here in a perfect world, I'd like to see some more profit taking, maybe back down here towards 83, and then another move back up through the VWAP. We get that, probably take a long on this. A move back down through the 9 EMA is going to be the exit signal, unless you want to take it a little bit earlier than that. But Rubrik here moving today on the back of an earnings print. And a quick look at the short interest here on this one, 9.03% of the float shorted with 6.27 days to cover. That's actually high. The percent of float shorted is elevated, but not high. It is on days to cover. The threshold we're looking for on that is 5. This is 6 and change. On average, the stock trades 3.6 million shares. Today, it's traded 672,000. So it's should be able to get to its average there without issue, but not trading mega high here in the pre-market. Float on this one, and this is customary of bigger companies, float on this one 139.17 million. 13, do you have anything here on Rubric?
Would you mind drawing me a trend line first?
Right here, and here.
Yeah, now that's a little bit of a weird candle, that one, that red one in the middle. So I'd kind of ignore it and go with the next one. Yeah, because if you ignore that one, that's kind of, we're at that resistance right now, and we might end up reversing here for temporarily. If there's more upside in this, then I would be looking at the daily chart, because when you do, you can see that back on October 10th, we went up to 88 and was rejected. This is following a loss of the $88 handle back on September 10th. We, a month later, like literally almost a month, about a month to the day, we come right back up to 88, get rejected, and we've gone lower. Now we're climbing back up to 88. I think that's going to be an important level to keep an eye on, because if you look even further to the left, there's a lot of consolidation there. So that could be a lot of people waiting to get out as well. So 88 is going to be a pretty big level of resistance to the upside. But let's say that we clear that. Let's say that we go higher than that, and where are the next levels at? There might be resistance at just shy of 92. That also looks like a standout area, as does 96. But when you look at a daily chart, you can see that on June 6th and September 9th, those are our last two really large highs. And I would draw a descending trend line from the June one down through the September one, and that's going to give us another level of resistance to watch for if we go beyond 96.
Okay, really good stuff there. Rubric, RBRK. What else? Did you have anything else on your list? I think I asked you that already. You said
nope. Nope. Whatever the chat wants to look at, or whatever you want to look at.
Okay. Well, we've got 4 minutes here till we open. iRobot, we talked about this one on Wednesday. Took kind of a break yesterday. Today in the pre-market, we're back up to the after-hours highs there. So maybe something to watch there. IRBT. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. It's good to see you. Hope you've been well. And then also, Crow here had mentioned low float is the theme, but it's actually reverse splits that are driving some of these. And this is a really good mention here, because we've been talking about a lot of this as well. 13, I know you often highlight these movers and when they had their last reverse split, and that looks to be coming into play here again. Good stuff, Crow. Great to see you and Tuna this morning.
If I could add to that as well, like this is why I like watching for some of these plays, these really I guess we'll call them junky companies that are going through these reverse splits. Watch for NASDAQ compliance. Yeah, because that's kind of been the whole thing here. When the stock is falling out of compliance, they have to go through several motions in order to regain that compliance. And one of those is typically talking with the NASDAQ or meeting with them, and they will specify dates. But the motions that they typically go through with their company is they're going to reverse split, and they're going to likely have to do a capital raise if they're not meeting the minimum market cap requirement. So it's just there's a very few things that they're going to have to do that we know that they're what to watch for. So as long as we're keeping an eye on things that are about to reverse split or need to reverse split, losing money, going under $1, names like that, also re-compliance or losing compliance, those are all going to be ones that we want to watch for, because they eventually will reverse split if they haven't already, or they're going to raise capital, and that's going to give us an indication of when to get in them, when to get out of them, and when to make trades on these. So several things to look for, but absolutely, yes, these are reverse splits that are typically driving these low float names higher. Okay.
And then, we got less than 2 minutes here. Last mover on the list here looks to be Toro. This is moving on a catalyst. This is spiking here in the pre-market. Toro shares trading higher after the company reported year-over-year increase in Q3 financial results and declared a special dividend of $1.75 a share. And that special dividend news is interesting. Let me see if I can actually get some information on that. Okay, it is expected to be paid January 16th for holders of record at the close of December 16th. So you have to own this stock at the close of December 16th, and the dividend will be paid January 16th. Given that the special dividend represents more than 25, is that 25? Yeah, 25% of the trading price company's common shares, NASDAQ has advised the company that its common shares will trade with due bills.
Yep.
More information on the process is included below.
We traded one like this before, where because remember you had to hold it.
There was like a specific period that you had to hold it. It wasn't just one day of record. I remember that.
No, it was like a month or something. You had to hold this thing. I forget which ticker it was, but it was earlier this year. We talked about it. I'm sure some folks in the chat remember. Toro though, let's see, we just moved through 5. That was a big level. The $5. Oh, we just opened, by the way.
Yeah,
that was a big level to get through. So that's going to be support for Toro, $5. We'll see what happens here, and we're open. And then I was also asked about Rubrik's fundamentals. What do I thought about them? And I took a quick look. This company loses hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I don't know that I'm necessarily enthralled with their fundamentals at the moment.
Yeah, and due bills here. This is actually something I'm not familiar with. It does describe it here. Let me copy this out of the PR here for those that don't have access to the PR. I'll read that and summarize it here. But we did just open, so I'm going to flip over to the main workspace and get cracking.
Rubrik pushing through that trend line. It's back above VWAP for the moment, but it's pushed through the trend line. Keep those levels in mind that I was talking about earlier with this one. JFBR, this is trying to push up towards its VWAP as well. SMX, this is sinking down to the 65 EMA. That's going to be the first area of support. Next one is going to be down, I would say, around 210. GURE, this isn't really doing a whole lot out of the gate here. It looks like it opened lower and it's trying to capture VWAP in the regular session, not doing anything at the moment. Wheeler just kind of bouncing back and forth. What else is looking good here? Guys talk retail earning. Yeah. So those I think especially Dollar General, Jay, I think is going to do well. But yeah, a lot of those names should continue to do well, especially AEO when it's literally got a mascot that everybody's fawning over. MP dip. Let's take a look at MP because at some point we're gonna if we get this eventual reignition of trade tensions over rare earths, I think that this is going to be a major one that goes. All the rare earths plays will likely come back if we get that reignition of trade tensions between the U.S. and China over critical minerals. Alta gap up earnings.
And also, by the way, Netflix broke 100 here to the downside, now down 4.5% on the back of that Warner Brothers Discovery acquisition.
Yeah, that was something else. That was quite I think what it really came down to is, Warner Brothers just wanted to get the most they could out of it. And apparently Netflix was the only one willing to go that high.
Well, apparently there's more news here. Apparently there's a bidding war and Paramount has offered 30. So here we go. And this is another key thing on why like some of these mergers and acquisitions. Let me make sure here. Because I saw the Chiron come up there. Yes. On Paramount bid 30 per share, all cash for Warner Brothers per source.
Oh man, this is wild.
That came from David Faber on CNBC. So WBD still trading here.
So that could drive it. We could see this go WBD. We could see it go higher if this continues throughout the day. And this is already really extended here. 74 RSI on the daily, but. Yeah, I could see this stretching to 28 before we get into some, real tough resistance.
Lion says he'll add Netflix below 100. Lion, let me know what price you were looking to add that at.
Yeah, it seems like Netflix is going to be fine in the future. This is I think you touched on it earlier about how this is going to be profitable for them in a number of years because you got to think about. When a company is acquiring something like this for the amount that they're acquiring for, that's a lot of money that's leaving the company. And they're going to have to spend even more money taking that IP that they just bought and making something with it. So, yeah, it's going to be, probably 2 years at least before they see some kind of return on this acquisition, if they even get it. Mag 7-day Google ripping. Okay, let's go. Izzy's taking a position in Netflix, $98. SMX finding support from the 65 EMA. Let this. If you're ready to gamble, there's a potential opportunity there. You decide what you want to do with that. Jeff Brands, this is trying to push through the VWAP, not able to do
That's
so
what I was
yet.
looking for. There it is.
Rubric, that popped up to 90.26 and then backed off. So we did get that move through VWAP, but it just came right back beneath it. Toro also trying to push higher. This had a nice setup going into the open, but it doesn't have the volume it needs to push higher. It looks like it should be going higher. And then Gulf Resources, that got halted out of the gate to the downside. Wheeler, here we go. This is pushing up. Let's see if we can get up to 725.
Wheeler right through that VWAP too. Careful, this thing can pull, and just literally as I said that, it pulled all the way back down through the VWAP. Just be careful here with Wheeler. It's a wild one. Netflix back at 100. Looks like it's trying to reclaim that level. See if it's strong enough to do so.
What a great little pickup there, Izzy, huh? Great little pickup.
Yeah, that's 2 points already, Izzy. Tell you what, I won't ring the register until you do, but that was a nice ad. We'll get a 1-up for that. Palantir, that's actually higher out of the gate. PanW moving higher, perhaps in the back of the rubric report. Apple a little bit lower here, 279.
Oh, perfect, Marcus. He just made his day with VSCO.
Okay, that's also great. Nice little happy Friday here. Bang.
CRK, this is Comstock. That's
Jerry Jones's thing, right?
I think so. I don't exactly remember which oil and gas one that he has, but it might be. Let's see. Well, we want to see this back up at probably 31, right? That's what I would be guessing is we want to see this get back up to 31. It'd be nice if it broke through that, but if it finds resistance and then backs off, this probably comes back down to around maybe 25, 26.
Izzy, that register ring was for you. Nice opening trade there on Netflix. 3 points. Very good. And it is Jerry Jones. Thank you, Jay.
Yep. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. So let's see here. What's looking good at the moment?
iRobot through the pre-market highs. We'll see if that goes on a run here today. I also noticed that Meta just a second ago popped up on my scanner, although very quickly disappeared. Let me take a look and see what Meta is doing here today.
Had a big move up in Rigetti yesterday. It looks like that's starting to get sold a little bit. I don't know how much selling is going to happen here because we're in crack trading now. So Rigetti and all the other quantum names that got hammered down, they could still make some upside moves, but not today. It looks like, or at least not right now.
And then the question here about Path. We actually traded Path yesterday. That was a really, really good trade yesterday on Path. How do we think about it going forward here? It's definitely in the AI space, so should obviously benefit from that. But on the daily here, we're going to be at a really key point right here. Take a look at this double top. That's right up here at 1870. You're basically right at a resistance area. So can it break out and go higher? Well, sure. And you could probably use the daily to assume where those next areas are. Maybe 21 and a quarter and then maybe 26 and a quarter. Be some of your next spots here, but I don't know for sure if that's what's going to happen here with Path. This has been really, really beaten down. Really need to get above this recent high. The buying volume yesterday was good. Looks good here today. We're trading up. We'll see if we break this here on Path.
Looks like iRobot could still climb further, but when it gets up to about 430, 435, it's going to face a pretty good amount of resistance. So it's a little bit of a question mark about what happens when we get up to that level. It has been it's the 200-day EMA. There's been a lot of resistance at this EMA going back to, well, let's see, quite a ways. I mean, it seems like it does have some trading happen above this 200 EMA, but it's it doesn't last a whole long period of time before it comes right back down and trades for a while, like a very long while underneath this moving average. So that's going to be a bit of a resistance area that we could certainly come up to, maybe even trade above. But if we I don't think we'd want to be holding our position up there because as history has shown with this particular EMA on the daily chart, the price doesn't last too long above it.
Okay. CMBM is popping here. This is Cambium Networks. I feel like we traded this one recently. And then ADTX, which we've also traded recently. This had a spike here in the pre-market, coming back up to the VWAP there, 337. I've got it at 333 in my broker. See if ADTX can cross through that VWAP.
Now we're getting rubric to come back into the trend line. That's acting as support now. Let's see what else here.
Jeff Brands has come back in. That broke its VWAP. That actually looks like it's going to retrace a little bit more. Path still looking good here, above yesterday's highs. Path 19 test coming up here.
Marvell having a nice open here. This opened under 100, is now over 102, but putting in a series of upper shadows that may indicate that it could come back in here shortly. But having a good morning nonetheless.
Tesla had a nice pop here right out of the open, but it's actually been pulled back, seeing some put flow come in to Tesla now. Call flow in NVIDIA, call flow in Coin, call flow in Snow out of the open here. Rivian up just shy of 2%. Path still flirting with 19. I'll tell you what, that Netflix dip and rip, that was a really awesome trade.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well done, everybody that caught that. Jeff Brands, this is coming down to the 65 EMA. That's going to be at about 285. If you look to the left, that is an area that was resistance in the pre-market, and we broke through it at around 835, 840. Now we're coming back down to test this level of support. So let's see if that's what we end up getting here.
SoFi here, actually below the offering price. That offering was at $27.50 a share. SoFi sold off out of the gate, down 8.3% here, but it is below that offering price.
Amazon and Lulu moving up. Smoke Tuna mentioning Kit.
Get the pullback in rubric now.
GTF is mentioning UAMI. That was a great minerals trade. Oh, hey, you don't have to tell us, Izzy. I know that's what you were after, because we've been talking about 100. Yeah, great level for a while.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm glad you nailed that.
Registering handed out.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this about Wheeler, because we are trying to hold above the VWAP here. It looks like there may be the possibility that this pushes up to 7, just based on this price action that we've had this in the pre-market. This could easily get rejected pretty quick at 7. So if you're going to trade this and for that 7 print, make sure you have your order out there already. And so we'll see if that ends up happening. But it looks like 7 is a big resistance area, and it's trying to push up there. So we'll see if we get this volume expansion that takes us up there, as long as we hold above VWAP.
Strategy rolling over from its recent bounce here. I did see a out of the money call buy there, it looks like, but Strategy here not having a great day, down 3%. You guys are talking about Oklo. Is that moving here today? OKLO.
Ooh, they've had an offering. Okay.
Right down to a trend line.
And this is, you're probably going to see a lot of this with these names that have gone on run. So, things in the nuclear theme, the drone theme, the quantum theme. We're probably going to see some capital raising happening here. And especially if the Fed cuts some more, probably see even more, capital raising, and maybe even more M&A activity. That's kind of what we're expecting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Tech Robotics. Looks like that's actually doing well here again. Remember, this moved, this and other robotic stocks moved after the political headline.
Guns are blazing, and I'm not speaking figuratively. I'm talking literally. SWBI up 15% off of earnings they had yesterday.
Smith & Wesson.
That's causing Sturm Ruger and Company to also get a little bit of a lift as well.
That's RGR.
Mm-hmm.
Netflix 102. That bounce continuing. Netflix $1.15 away from going red to green. Costco already went red to green. And W at the highs on the back of that rubric report. Ondas coming back.
Lots of these names getting hammered here. Toro might actually make a move through the 545 high it put in. It's still consolidating up here. Need to see this move happen soon, because if we don't get it, then this will just, investors will get tired of sticking around and saying that they'll sell. Okay, so Wheeler could not push through looks like 640 at come down under VWAP. As long as it continues to hold up in this area going into the open, there's still a chance for it to try and push 7, but
Tracy, OKLS is the short ETF for Oklo. Okay, cool.
Oh, nice. That's up 15%. Looking good. I mean, Oklo's it's a popular stock, but I don't think that they're really anywhere near where they need to be in order to be profitable. Or I haven't looked at their financials in a while.
Remember Tim Melvin said that this is you're trading the story here. It's a ways off from all of the profitability and all of that. You're trading the story right here. Rigetti, by the way, down 3.3%. That had a really good day yesterday. I almost wonder if RGTZ sets up today.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is that we'll see some selling in RGTI. We already did a little bit, but I don't know if we're going to completely give back everything that RGTI gained yesterday. Yeah. It's a pretty big move. You look at RGTI, maybe I could just point out some levels to watch for, because it blew through some of the levels yesterday, and it could continue upwards today as well. So let's see what levels we have here. So 32. That's going to be the next area that I think that we're going to potentially see some resistance. And then, of course, 34. You have the 50-day SMA above that at 35.21. Those would be like the next 3 upside resistance areas. But we might get some selling before we make that move up to those levels first. And if that happens, I think 28 is going to potentially provide some support. So we'll see what happens at 28 if it gets down there.
RBRK continuing to come back in. Here's the Rigetti daily chart. You can see we're actually in that area. Again, that area 28 to 34 and a quarter.
And there's the move in Toro. So this is the setup that we had. We were just waiting for this to push through that 545. This had a bit of a bull pennant setup. We got through that. 560 now the new high. Let's see.
Turns out Toro wasn't a bunch of bull. How about that as we break higher here from this flag?
Now that's a good one. So this might run into some resistance around 630 to 650. Those are some of the highs from last year. I think that's where we might end up running to, because we're approaching. We're now trading at 2024 Q1 levels. So that the area from Q1 and late 2023, those are going to be the areas of that we're trading up to that we haven't seen price action in. So likely some folks in there that don't want to be in there anymore. Going to see some resistance going into these areas.
iRobot. Yeah, I didn't have this. We talked about this one trading up. I did not think it was going to make this move, but here we are. iRobot looks like 450 coming next here.
All right, let's see where this is going. So this went right up to the 200. Now I was just mentioning the 200-day SMA. Or I'm sorry, EMA.
EMA 433. It's right there. It's literally on it.
And this is. I was just talking about this one. How whenever we get up to this moving average, it doesn't stay above it or around it for too long before we start trading back down. And there's a lot of history to go through with this that shows how the prices interacted with the 200 EMA on the daily. So we'll see if this ends up capturing it, but I think that you might want to start considering maybe paying yourself a little bit.
I would think so, especially when it goes right to that resistance area. We just had that discussion with Mark on some of the other charts from earlier. Jay mentioning Goldman Sachs hitting a new all-time high here. Jay, what does that tell you for next year? You think there's a rotation into financials prior to the calendar rollover? Do you expect more M&A in 2026 that might make investment banks like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley more appealing? What do you think on the financials overall? Sorry, 13.
I was just going to say, I think that was it. The M&A activity, we might see a lot more of it next year, especially for getting rate cuts. So that's going to be a lot more activity for like Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs.
And we're already hearing from some of these massive AI companies, OpenAI, Databricks, Anthropic. These all want to come to market. That should absolutely benefit the investment banks. Goldman Sachs, another all-time high. This has been a great chart. This has actually been one of the better buys since the Liberation Day lows.
Yep. So here's
and day traders absolutely right. Morgan, I know we're showing the Goldman Sachs chart here. Here's the Morgan Stanley chart. This too looks the same and is also at those all-time highs. So take your pick if you think investment banking and IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, are going to be a big theme in 2026.
Okay, so Wheeler's still back up above VWAP again. It's going to take another attempt to push over this 640 area where it was getting rejected in the regular session here earlier. It's going to need more volume to get up through towards 7.
QCLS, this was the stock that was moving on the Martin Shkreli purchase. This came back in a little bit, but is bouncing so far. Jay says, Ryan, no, it's just cheaper than anything else. Banks in general traded at 12 PE. Okay, so you think that this is more of like people rotating to value then? Low PE ratios from some of the high flyer stocks that have been winners this year?
Gulf Resources halted to the upside now. It was previously halted to the downside. It looks like it's found its footing around 770s. And it's recaptured VWAP in some of the EMAs. And now it's into an upside halt. Resistance in this one can be about 1050. We'll see what happens up there, but halted to the upside right now.
Rubric, this is finally putting in a bounce. It's right at its VWAP. We'll see if it can get above that. That's ticker RBRK. Amanda saying, guys, does this feel too much does this feel like too much buying this morning? Like outsized moves on small catalysts? Yes, in particular for the smaller names. I think some of the bigger names, we were already kind of discussing some of the rotation that we've been seeing.
Yep.
So it depends on what you want to short there. You know, the other thing that we were talking about in terms of like a broader market pullback was the VIX into a 14 handle. It's currently at 1580. Might have a little bit more room there. And by the way, Bitcoin is actually weak here today, down 2.67%. So that we've talked about that being a risk on or off indicator. It looks like today that's a little bit weak. Oil's a little bit higher.
iRobot still grinding higher, potentially looking for 5. Just remember what can happen beyond the 200-day EMA here. Matter of fact, let me look at a smaller time frame. I want to look at what happened last time we were above it.
TTD, this is higher out of the open. Remember, I was telling you earlier that Kathy Wood has added the trade desk, added a lot to the trade desk over a couple of the different ARC ETFs. Lynn Adams mentioning LEU is dipping. That was a massive winner here, courtesy of Jay and a couple of others. Where are we at here? LEU, big time pullback off what? What was that? Come on. 280? Oh, for heaven's sakes, Ryan, get it together. 290-ish. LEU. A big pullback.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just looking at some of the price action intraday for iRobot. The last time we had a move up through the the 200 EMA on the daily chart, it rallied into the close, and then it went sideways in the after hours, and then the very next day, it just absolutely crapped out. So just be careful with iRobot even if we do get a close above the 200 EMA. Looks like SMX has found its footing, trying to recapture some levels here. And
what on earth?
I agree. Smoke Tuna, we do need to see that move in Wheeler happen very soon, or it's going to probably fall out of bed here. And there was another one I was
CNBC just had Beeple robots on. Apparently, these are like the dog robots with human faces on them. Gotta say, that was one of the creepier things I've ever seen.
Oh, that network.
I'm not sure what to think of that. I'll be honest with you. Wild stuff. Intel, this trading up here. This at 42 here today. Path, did we get above 19? No, looks like that was still resistant. Yeah, 19 still resistance. Path pulled back here, but might be trying to come back on, and definitely watch that. If you're in Path here, I would say that $19 absolutely serves as a resistance area.
QCLS ran up to the 65 EMA, running into resistance there. We'll see if it can push through. MACD indicates that the momentum is swinging to the upside, so we'll see if it can get back above 780. That's the next resistance area I have before the VWAP. Got to see if Wheeler's going to make the move here or not. It's going to have to happen soon, I think. It's like Smoke Tuna was saying.
Or we're going to need a pullback.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Brand's losing the 65 EMA, coming down to some sideways consolidation around 260. Maybe it reverses around that area. It seems like a lot of these movers just kind of stopped and just taking a breather, figuring out what they're going to do next. But not iRobot. That's continuing to grind higher, looking for 5.
Tiny Pie says, yeah, Beeple makes some really weird things. Indeed. That was a bit shocking, actually. It's back on there. Man, oh, man.
Caddyshack mentioning economic numbers in 5 minutes. Get that 10 a.m. Print.
Yeah, we get the Michigan consumer print.
Mm-hmm.
CMBM, this is still just beneath 2.
I'm just looking for setups in some of these.
Yeah, me too.
It's really slowed down, and I don't want to chase any of this. Yeah, FTIL, that was a nice move. This is FTIL looks to be sniffing out $1. I don't know if it's going to actually get that, but that's what it's trying to get. I mean, this thing, and it's 200. It hasn't had a good relationship with the 200 EMA on the 5-minute for the past several days. It's kind of been the resistance area, and today we just finally broke through it. So if we can continue to hold above it, then we'll probably see $1.
More NVIDIA puts. These are not terribly huge in size, but NVIDIA lower here and more put buying on the back of it.
GURE Gulf Resources is open, just as Jay mentioned, or I'm sorry, Crow mentioned. Jay was right beneath him talking about consumer fraud print.
What's the setup in Cala, Marcus? Just this holding this area and maybe a reversal off this area? Let me know what the setup is there.
GURE pushing a little bit higher.
Here, let me put GUR on screen. I'm going to go grab a sweater here real quick.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary. The robots on CNBC are creepy. Yes, GURE. This is actually starting to curl here. This is a pretty good mention. All right, 13. Let me grab a sweater. I'll be right back.
Okay. PCE. We don't get PCE till the end of the month, unless this is just because the data was delayed and they're just releasing it now. But PCE typically comes at the end of the month. All right, let's see here. Rubric losing some levels here, coming down towards 65 EMA. It's the next area of support. Jeff Brands has not been great this morning. I don't know where this sell-off ends here, but it's coming down to a lot of sideways price action. So that's a demand zone, maybe around 250. We see that support kick in. GURE still trying to push higher. QCLS still dealing with that 65 EMA. What is iRobot backing off? Almost hit $5. $4.95 is the high. We're backing off of that area now. Marvell trying to hold above 100. It's now at 168 cents. Market, G-Man, market has been that way pretty much all week, and we could get a little bit of that into the next week before we get the FOMC meeting. Core PC. So we are getting some delayed data because PCE doesn't typically come at this time of month. We'll see what PCE gives us.
Okay.
Well, you look well bundled.
Yeah, I just had to throw one of my hoodies on. It's cold today. 14 right now outside.
Oh, jeez. Jeff Brand's sinking even further now. Here we are coming down to the 250 area. We'll see if it can get some support. There it is.
Barat asking about unusual put flow on Tesla. Let me filter Tesla here. There's definitely been flow. I don't know how unusual it is, though. Let me review this real quick for you, Barat.
Looks like Wheeler's trying to catch some bids here. Still low volume.
Barat, there's way more call flow than there is put flow here today. And the biggest transactions are on the call side. So I would say, to answer your question outright, no, not a whole lot. There's definitely some, but not a whole lot. And calls outweigh puts in this name. And actually, I can probably get you a reading on that.
All right, I'm going to go over to the SPY. I want to see how the market takes this.
Yeah, really quickly here. Calls outpace puts 2-1 in Tesla here today.
By the way,
I don't see anything terribly unusual on the put side.
By the way, how about that recapture of 684? That sent us higher.
On the SPY, almost like 684 was a key level. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge that we've been talking about.
Almost.
How about that dip and rip too? The whole SPY pulled. The cues look very similar to this. That pullback off the impulse move. Now, bang, new highs there. TGL open and halt. This is another one that the last time we took a look at this thing was halted like crazy.
Okay, so we should be getting that economic print here. Not seeing it come across. There it goes. So 0.1% lower than the estimate. And this is for September. So yeah, this is what's delayed.
This is the delayed September data, right?
Yeah, because typically we don't get PCE at the beginning of the month. It's always at the end of the month. TGL opened. Okay, so there's another one. I don't even have to go to it to know that this is
Michigan. Really quickly here, Michigan consumer sentiment 53.3 versus the 51 prior read there. Core PCE month over month for September in line at 0.2, and year over year for September in line 2.8 versus 2.8. So the core price index, that first one there, 2.8 versus 2.9.
And that is sending us higher. So perfect. Why does my chart look so weird? Like I'm missing some candles here.
Yeah, I had that on SPY. Is it on SPY?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my long-term chart. I was like missing historical candles there.
Okay. Intel's ripping. How about that?
Yeah, I can put that on here real quick. I got to go change the track for my bird real quick too. Sorry.
Intel. Now it's great to see that the trend line that we drew. That I can tell you how to draw it if you haven't yet. But this is a long-term trend line that we've been watching here. We started with the high from April. Looks like April 14th, 12 or 14th, 2021. Drew through the high from December of 2023, and as you can see, when you keep going, we tested a breakout of this back in October. It came back in, and now we're ripping above it, and we're using this trend line as support right now. So as long as that trend line support holds up, you might see some higher prints here in Intel. This could go. It could probably go up to. Well, let's see it clear 44 first. If it can get start trading over 44, I think 48's in the cards.
MSTX on the movers list here, or on the scanner here. That's one of the levered long side micro strategy names. That was 13. I play music or sounds for my bird when I have him in the other room, and Spotify rolled over to a different playlist that it randomly selected called "Loud Noises to Wake Someone Up."
Oh,
that poor bird, man. He's probably like, "What the hell is this?"
Loud Noises by Brick.
No, the good Anchorman reference there after our discussion, but no, that's it was a little bit different than that.
We have two halts happening right now. So Jeff Brands is halted to the downside at $2. It just absolutely gave everything up and more this regular session. So hey, maybe there's a potential bounce coming here. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but this thing just got absolutely whacked out of the open here. Meanwhile, SMX just pushed through its VWAP. It's halted to the upside. So maybe this one sees 300 out of the halt. I don't know. This is, I think there's a significant risk here in SMX up at these prices, but if you can manage to trade this, you do what you want.
We gave all the warnings we could.
We did.
Real quick here, question about Lulu. Shazah asking, what would be levels to look out for on Lulu? Well, that's good. We just passed a breakout level here in Lulu. First of all, we were watching really the 165 to 175 level because that was kind of the sideways area that it was going. But if you look at a daily chart here, this thing recently broke above this recent high. It is in the gap, and this gap fills up here at about 202, 200, 201.
Yep.
So this would be the next level that I have here. That's another 10 points. We are in a strong seasonality environment here for Lululemon. And as Jay has mentioned a number of times on this program, retail names have actually been pretty strong.
Yep.
And you're seeing that here in Lulu. So this to me looks good for the upside here. The two key levels that we were watching was this previous high from October 28th. We've broken that. We're now going to continue to close this gap off, it looks like. What happens past this? That's anyone's guess. I would really love to see this get above 207. I think if we do, we probably go up towards 225-ish.
I think
those would be my levels.
I think all that could happen, but I believe you're going to get a pullback after we hit 200.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it took a break there too when it fills that gap.
I think we're going to fill that gap. We could either go sideways or maybe a little bit lower, because by the time we get up to 200, if it happens quick enough, we're going to have a bit of an overbought stock here. It's already approaching 70 RSI. That's already pretty elevated. Getting up to 200 is going to lift that even further, and I think you're going to end up seeing a little bit more pressure, selling pressure in this name if we have that happen. There's that sideways consolidation here from August of this year. The bottom part of that is going to be, where the gap fill is that you were mentioning, 200. The top part is going to be at about 208. So may see some price action go sideways a little bit in there, but I think that we're going to end up seeing some cooling once we hit 200.
Lulu's been straight up today. I mean, this thing right out of the open, just almost nothing but green candles. We had one red 5-minute candle here and a red volume stick, and it went higher from that already. I just saw hymns on this list for the first time in what feels like forever. Market looks bullish. Indeed, it does. 688. We are ramping now. We talked about this. We talked about the next level. Really the SPY trying to go to 700 looks like that's what it's on its way to doing here.
SMX just printed 300.
Did it really? Mm-hmm. Here's him. So him's actually breaking above yesterday's high. This actually recaptured the trend line. Let me put SMX up here. I'm going to avoid SMX. I'm still going to say it.
It hit 300 and it kind of backed off, but it out of the halt, it hit 300.
I don't. Some of these my broker doesn't even allow me to trade. Like said, like that low float RAYA. I can't trade that unless I call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was kind of wild to see that move yesterday. That went all the way up to 528.
Came all the way back into.
Yeah, I mean, but it's crazy that we were just talking about it and it made that move.
Can't buy it though.
Rubric recapturing the VWAP, trying to push higher right now. The session high is 90.26. We're above 87 right now. Let's see what else is looking good here. American Eagle not having too bad of a day. Not up a whole lot, but it's up. Looks like GURE is halted to the downside. Lots of stagnation here. What happened to this one? Oh, that's coming in too. Looks like a lot of things are coming in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Small cap. So these are the direction levered ETFs for small caps. IWM had a great day. We actually talked about this yesterday too. Very clear rotation into IWM. Saw a little bit of a profit-taking pullback maybe here, but IWM right back on. I still think small caps are going to be pretty good.
Next resistance I have for the SPY is going to be up at the previous all-time high of 688.91, so just shy of 689. SMX pushing higher. 320 is now the high. 321. I'm sorry, 329.
Just look at it 15 seconds later, it'll be a different price.
Yeah, probably.
Decker's Outdoor continuing higher here, just on that retail theme that we had already discussed. Daniel saying, yeah, that's that's definitely why a lot of those really like mega low float China names are not tradable by some of the brokers. That's exactly what's going on.
And it just regained compliance, I believe. Looks like Wheeler's trying to push here again. Let's see if we can get through that 645. It's been a bit of a tough spot for it this morning on the way up to 7. So we'll see if it gets enough volume to get through that. Looks like Jeff Brands is open and trying to decide if it's going to go lower or try to recover.
So do you like this behavior here at 13 where Wheeler's just kind of consolidating around its VWAP? I mean, I'll say I do love that it's not breaking down.
I don't know that I necessarily like it in this particular name.
Okay.
I mean,
Wheeler can be a wild one. This is one that my broker actually lets me buy.
No, you want to gamble, it says.
Well, no, I'm just wondering if you actually see a setup here. I mean, one of the things that I've been talking about is that I really don't see a whole lot of great setups here. I'm not sure Wheeler really does it, but I know we've traded this before. I know I can buy this one unless it's changed.
It looked like it had a setup, and out of the first 10, 15 minutes, I was looking for that move to go up to 720 because it just seemed to have that setup, and we haven't done that. So I'm not sure about it right now. The more it goes sideways and holds above VWAP, it may end up setting up for a nice move up. But it's, I don't know what the timing is going to be on that.
And to your point here about that, Smoke Tuna saying Wheeler will fall if it can't make its move higher here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. And that's kind of why I was asking here. Like, I do like that it's consolidating around the VWAP, but I am kind of worried about the upper wicks. We've seen this one trade before. I don't trust this stock, to be quite honest with you. So
Rubric still trying to push toward the session highs again.
And if this loses, there it is. Look at that. What a tuna and 13 out here making calls, saving people money. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All we had to do was wait. Frozen King says Ryan confirmed the Boyle purchase when he put on a hoodie. Well, glad I can help. Glad I can help confirm that.
What's looking interesting? I'm sorry to hear that, Christoph.
What happened?
The pull on Wheeler took him out.
Oh, well, hey.
You had a stop, right?
I was going to say, at least you had a stop. At least you had a plan there. And remember what Mark told us earlier today. Good traders take small losses. Bad traders take big losses. So if what you did was put a stop on this stock to keep your loss small, look, man, not all trades work out here. And you just had a CMT earlier today saying that what you just did was a good thing. I wouldn't be too bent out of shape about that.
Wish there was a little bit more to trade here.
Yeah. Ed's asking Benzinga, Wire just had a report about Amazon options. Can you explain those? Let me take a look and see what it says.
I don't have TSM printing the all-time high right now. That happened in October. The all-time high was 311.37. We're at just shy of 300 right now.
Ed, the explanation is in here. So I think this is what you're talking about, Amazon Options Frenzy, what you need to know. So a couple of things, just how to utilize the Benzinga newsfeed. First of all, the little green arrow next to this particular news headline represents that the news desk has assigned positive sentiment to this story. So this says Options Frenzy, what you need to know. The green sentiment is telling you that it's positive here, but if you expand this content, it explains it all.
Getting mentioned that Aconda, this might be pushing up. It did get a nice green candle here right now, but still needs to clear 140. That's been a big resistance area since the after hours yesterday. Toro might be pushing up to make a new high here. It just had a nice reversal off the VWAP. Still seeing some resistance at 565, 566.
Let's be a good human with the €100 donation. My goodness, I'm having a great time and learning lots with you guys. Thank you. You're welcome, and thank you. We appreciate all of the support there. That might be a new high score. Let's be a good human.
QCLS recapturing the VWAP, moving through the 780 level that we were talking about as a resistance level to get through. That was where the price went up to initially. When we started trading in the morning. Now it's recapturing this level. If it continues to hold above it, we're going to want to see a move over. Looks like 825.
Sorry, which one is this? 13.
This is QCLS.
QCLS.
Yeah, this in the after hours yesterday, 825 was a bit of a resistance area. We broke through it this morning. That took us up to 938, but then we came right back in. So now we're trying to revisit this area here where we also went sideways. It seems like 820, 825, that's going to be continue to be the big resistance area. If we manage to move through it, we'll see 9.
Okie dokie.
We're already invoking the Bears-Packers game, huh?
Dude, I've been invoking it all week. It's Packers.
I know, and it's great because it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
Jay Rice says, I donate golf balls. Indeed, you do. And then, Jay, I pay it forward because over the course of the season, I hit many bad shots, and I end up donating those balls to the people that fish them out of the woods. So the circle is now complete, Jay. Much appreciate that, by the way. Much appreciate that.
So we've got GURE, Gulf Resources. This is open again, and it's dealing with a seller at 950 right now. He's just kind of hanging out there with a whole bunch of shares that he's offloading. If he gets through that, maybe we see a recapture of VWAP, but it's right down at the 65 EMA. We're getting support with Gulf Resources, and we're trying to get through that seller. So if we get through that, we'll see VWAP. If not, we'll see the underside of the 65 EMA.
Okay. Netflix looks like it's pausing here at about 103.25. That was a really good bounce back move there in Netflix, and Bitcoin is starting to firm up too. Bitcoin here, 91,415 on the futures.
Is seen as mentioning Alta?
Ooh, Alta. Did that have earnings yesterday? Let me bring that up. Let me see what Alta's doing here. I think Yassine asked for Ulta earlier too when Mark Putrino was on. Yeah, indeed. Ulta Beauty shares are trading higher after the company beat estimates. This actually would have been the good gap and go. And take a look here. 9 EMA is the pink line. We've never crossed beneath it. So we talked about Rubrik earlier in a potential gap and go on one of these stocks that has a good catalyst. Rubrik came back in. It's bouncing now, but it came back in, would have flushed out the gap and go. Ulta here, this looks good, right? Right out of the open, this thing started to move away from that 9 EMA. We haven't crossed back beneath it. Ulta looking real good here. Boy, this thing is up 68.5 points.
I like how since November of 22, this thing has been putting in a broadening wedge. And today we're getting, I think we're either testing the top end of that wedge or we're breaking out of it. We're testing the top end. So we could be breaking out of it. I think you might get a better view of this if you switch to a weekly, but you can see the highs from May of 2023, March 2024, and then, of course, today, as well as the lows of October 2023. Whoa. What's that?
I'm sorry to interrupt here. This is a good mention here from several folks in the chat. DBRG. We are getting a headline 7 minutes ago that SoftBank is in talks to buy Digital Bridge. That's a Bloomberg report, first published on the fly. The stock's halted to the upside here, up 34%. Oh, is it open now?
It's open.
It's open now. Yeah. It's going higher here. DBRG. I don't have the article on what the buyout price is there, but the rumor here that's driving this, SoftBank looking to buy it.
They're in talks to buy it. Let me see if I can get some figures. Not getting it from this resource here. See if it's in this one.
Tenzin, Digital Bridge. Oh, and look at Rubrik. Look at Rubrik right there. Right back up to that previous high. We'll see if it takes this off. I would definitely look to sell some there at 90 if you took this on the VWAP or the 9 EMA bounce. and then maybe leave some in case we break and go higher here. So we didn't get the gap and go, but it looks like we're still having some strength here. Volume actually starting to curl up too on Rubric.
Yesterday on CNBC's Mad Money Lightning Round, this was an article from yesterday, so it was on Wednesday. Jim Cramer recommended taking a pass on Digital Bridge.
You gotta be kidding. I didn't even know that.
It's literally in one of these headlines here.
Amazing.
How's
so that funny. Eagles call going? How's that Eagles call going?
I don't know what his Eagles call was, but it's
on the screen. It's on the screen.
Hey, how about that? Because I think I had more confidence in your team than you did going into that match.
I can confirm that a Packer fan named 13 texted me and said, "You know what? Go Bears, cause F the Eagles." Respect for that, 13.
My feelings are felt. SMX halted to the upside now, 355.26. It's halted at. Maybe this sees the pre-market highs again, but just be careful.
Come on, Rubric, get me to 90.
Looks like Gulf Resources open, trying to hold above the 65 EMA. We did print beneath it and recaptured it. Need to see that volume take us back up through VWAP if we're going to get any more upside in GURE.
SMX halted at 355.
Yeah, I just mentioned that.
Okay, sorry, I was reading Wiss's chat comment. My bad.
It's all good. I was just mentioning we could potentially end up seeing 400, but just be careful with this thing because we gave you all the reasons before. Toro trying to push higher. A con that popped and then dropped back beneath VWAP. Another volatile one. Looks like Rocket Lab went down to 48, rebounded, and sniffing out 50 again. We hit 50.45 in the pre-market, but that seems to be a big resistance area, that $50 level. So if we do go back up to 50, we're going to need to see a good amount of volume to push through it. With Wheeler? Geez.
I commented on that.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
I literally said Tuna and 13 out here saving people money was the exact comment that I made when the thing broke away.
Right. That was like 10 minutes ago when we lost VWAP, but it wasn't down near the 65 EMA getting support. So that's why I was like, whoa, this had a really quick move down there, getting some support, but let's see if it can recapture that 550 level. That's going to be resistance now. All right. Well, what else is looking good? Netflix is at the high of the day? No kidding.
Netflix is at the high of the day. That actually looks like it might try and go higher. Same with PayPal. Ondas coming back. Still waiting out 90 on Rubric. We got 50 cents more here. Come on, Rubric.
Marvell back under 100.
What's the thought on Marvell?
Don't know.
Long term, we think that's going to be real good. We think it should be worth over 100.
So some of these chip companies have actually looked into, and that's one of the reasons why I actually own Broadcom and AMD. I have not done my DD on Marvell, so I don't want to start saying stuff that is probably untrue. I would defer to people that have actually done DD on Marvell because I haven't. The Bears killed Wheeler. That's funny. ASTS testing 73.83 yesterday high. Be careful with ASTS. This has been a great mover and it's got some pretty good short interest, but I'm not liking the valuation of this. I don't think it belongs up here, but it's part of the space theme, and the space theme is also moving at the same time that drones, nuclear, and what's the other one? Anyway,
wait, what? Say that again.
What the four names? It was drones, nuclear, space,
batteries.
No, it was from last year. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, those four, it's one of
I
those
can't
four
remember.
themes, and I think that's one of the only reasons why you still continue to get some good movement in AST is because it's part of that space theme. I have a hard time with this valuation up here.
Real quick, Sean is saying, how can I gift you guys? You've helped me so much. You can hit like and subscribe, and you can show the management team here how much you enjoy what we do on a daily basis for you folks.
And if you know people that are looking to have this same kind of success you're having and they're in trading stocks, send them our way and see if they get any value out of us. Yeah.
Rubric is a quarter away from 90.
Yep. And kind of
Quantum.
Other thing. That's right. Thank you.
Tracy, Zach, or ZV.
That's it. That is it. All right.
Come on, Rubric. Print 90 so we can at least close partial of this trade. Come on, Rubric.
Oh, man. Jeff Brands continues to get hammered. It's probably going to – actually, it did almost come down to the pre-market low from yesterday. And it could still continue lower. There's lower prints prior to that. I mean, man, what an ugly – this would have been a great short, but, you know, wouldn't it's just if you could have get any shares to borrow. But, man, what an ugly drop this thing was from 426 down to 185.
Yassine, I'll get you a Johnny's Italian beef and I'll FedEx you 13. I actually years and years and years ago, one of my buddies who lived in New York, his parents lived out in Las Vegas, and he was saying how he just missed In-N-Out Burger so much. And he had his parents buy his favorite order of In-N-Out Burger and then next day air it to him. He's like, yeah, it didn't really come in great shape, but I put it in the microwave and it was fine. Oh, God.
There's a sandwich place in California that, all the dock worker family that I have out there loves to go to. And they have literally bought a bunch of their deli sandwiches and taken them on the plane to come and visit us and give them to us when they get there. I mean, there's some sandwiches, some types of food are just worth, taking with you on a plane.
They are. So, Rubric, you're 10 cents away. You're 10 cents away. Hit that 90, Rubric. Hit that 90. Come on.
Well,
we got close there.
I'll tell you what, Sean, you guys come in here every day and talking and trading and having a good time with us and making money. That's a really good Christmas gift to me.
Yeah. And I was going to say, when you guys tell us that you've made money and your life is better because of this, like there's reward for both of us in that.
Yep.
There's reward for both. As long as they let us do this, we'll keep doing it.
Yep.
Ooh, is Netflix trying to break out here? Come on, Rubric, you are so close. You're going to make me wait this out and sweat this out. Really? Here's Netflix, by the way. Looks like next leg higher here. Tiny Pie, I've ordered sandwiches from friends coming from other countries, but they're coming to visit you, right? Like you're going to see them in a matter of hours, so they bring the sandwich with them.
GURE is starting to get some movement here, trying to recapture the VWAP. So Smoked Tuna, I think we may have something here.
Wiss says, Sean, get Ryan Masters tickets in 2028 or 2026.
I do like In-N-Out Burger. Yep.
Animal style, man.
Animal. I prefer. I think it's the number one. That's kind of been my go-to. But yeah, Animal style is great too. Wow, GURE. I think we're looking pretty good here. We're coming up to some resistance around 1065. This is where we were trying to push through earlier this morning and we got rejected. So we need to see this volume continue to expand if we're going to get through it. And if we do, we might see 12.
Okay, GURE, we shall see. You want it now? Let me ask you. Now, so as far as 12 goes, 13, do you think that this is a resistance area? Do you think that this is a potential break spot that launches it?
Oh, I think it's going to, the first visit, I think will typically be resistance, because if you look at what happened in the pre-market, we lost that level, tried to push above it. We got rejected a little bit further into that handle, actually up at 13, the 13 handle, came back in, and we haven't really been able to get up there. So initially, I would think that begins to act as a resistance. But if we continue to hammer it, then I think it will break through it. I was just kind of distracted and laughing about Joe Schmo's comment on Rubric. He really hopes the CEO's name is Stanley. I thought that was funny.
Sean saying, Ryan, if I get you Bears tickets with your name and good seats, can I do that? I don't know if you can even allow that, but here's the other thing. Like, I love the Bears, and you're never going to hear me say something bad about the Bears, except for this. The trip to the stadium is horrific. Horrific. Getting down there is an enormous pain. If you drive your car down there, expect to spend 3 hours getting out of there. I would say don't even worry about that. Don't even worry about that. I'm just glad that your life is better and that you're having a good time here. And I appreciate you trying to hook it up and all that, but I wouldn't worry about
it. Zach, did you happen to take the Interstate 10 freeway? Because that kind of narrows it down where we might be able to see it. And I probably drove past something like that too. Let me know. Yes, absolutely, Ed Edwards, 100%. All right, looks like we're still having trouble. What's up?
I was just going to say, you're going to talk about GURE here. Yep. Graph saying Fidelity says no GURE. So I haven't bought this yet. I'm thinking, should I try?
It's a Chinese company. It's a Chinese company that has 4 subsidiaries.
Yeah.
And that's, that are in China. And I think that's probably why.
Yeah. I would just be careful with these.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, if I can't resist you, shoot me an email.
Lots of consolidation right now. Marvell looks to be trying to get some footing so it can turn around and get back up above 100. Rocket Lab went up to 49.70. Was it 72? 49.70. Kind of backed off a bit there. So that 49.70. If you look at the pre-market, there was a bit of a sideways, price action, a bit of an era from about 7:25 to 8:25, so an hour. And then we lost this 49.70 level. So that's going to be that's going to create a bit of a supply zone that we're going to need to see some more volume in order to get through. And then there's another one right above it at 50 in the 50 area. So we need to see some more volume in Rocket Lab if we're going to recapture those supply zones. Yeah, that's a good point, Smoke Tuna. Don't chase what's already running, because
definitely
you're going to be the ones, all those people that own positions of this are going to be selling to. I think DBRG has room to the. I think you mean the upside. Hold on.
Yeah, he does upside.
Let's see. This is the one where it's in talks. So we just hit the 500-day SMA. This actually was a moving average that has provided resistance back in October. We're backing off of that right now. So possibly, if we do manage to get through this, 14 is going to be a big resistance area as well. But if that happens, if we do start printing above 14, we're going to be in gap fill territory from November last year, October to November last year. That's going to be from. Let me just give you the figures here. So the high from November 1st of 2024 was 1375, and the low from October 30th is 1566. So that almost $2 gap could certainly be filled if we can recapture 14. So if I don't know. If that answers your question or not, but it seems to me like that's what I'd be watching for based on all the different indicators that I have here. So here we go with GURE. This is trying to push up again here.
Are we going to get the move?
Maybe. We're looking for 11 right now. Trying to get through 1150. That's the regular session. Actually, it's more like 1138, but that's the area. Trying to get through 11 right now. Let's see if we get it. This thing is just really, really spready. 20
Yeah,
cent spread.
it is spready. I don't know. Someone said here and think. Yeah, so ZV says it does work on toss. Okay, so I can buy this and I didn't have. There it goes.
Yep, and it's going to halt to the upside.
And Tuna, boom. Tuna said this is going to go wild, and there it is. Yep. No halt. They pulled it off that 1151. It will halt if it holds here.
Yep. Fantastic. That was that was only my second trade today. I haven't done a whole lot this morning.
Yeah, it was just rubric for me.
It was I did.
They didn't hold it.
Yeah,
that pulled off right at the last second there.
Yeah, I've only done one in Wheeler and one in GURE.
Did you? And you got it in Wheeler. Good for you.
Well, I mean, I did it out of the gate, and I had that pop up through VWAP, and I just, as soon as it started looking weak, I just sold it because this. So
it was the early one.
This thing scares the hell out of me, to be honest.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
No, I know, Smoke Tuna. You have been calling it.
I just gave him credit for.
I know.
Muted?
No, you're not. I hear you. But no, Smoke Tuna was on top of this. He was actually giving us indication about this as this was coming back down towards the 65 EMA. So when we lost that 65 EMA and then recaptured it, that was a good area of reversal. So that could have been a really good buy spot as it recaptured the 65 EMA. Because look what happened since then. We are in the 11 handle now, and we're looking for 12. Caper announced an offering today of 150 million shares at 25, yet still at 8%. Well, let me look at this.
Joe saying that tells me there's a lot more upside, so they believe in whatever they're going to do with the proceeds from that offering.
You look at a daily chart for Capricorn. This thing is just in consolidation mode. After this gap up that it had, we're just consolidating right now. $30. I think that's the big spot to watch for next. Now let me look at the intraday price action we got here because when did they actually announce this? Let me look at that first. It just did earlier this morning. Okay.
So the offering's getting bought.
Well, I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot, of downside because prior to this, let's see, we got the information.
Stopped on rubric, by the way. Couldn't get 90. We'll see if we get the rest of it. Still made money off of it, just not as much as I had hoped.
I mean, this was about a dollar above the share price, so it's not like this was really going to fall a whole lot anyway.
Yeah.
Also, this has some pretty high short interest. I think it's squeezing.
Okay. Possible squeeze play here.
It's got 35% of the float shorted with 7.9 days to cover. It's in our parameters. And now if this had it was priced like much lower, like under 20 or something, I think we would be seeing a much different reaction to that. And we kind of got this. We got this news yesterday, to be honest. Capricorn TBA spot secondary shares are being re-offered at $25. That was yesterday in the after hours. And I think that is, that is what we ended up getting in the after hours. We got that reaction already. So the news we're getting this morning, this is late. We already knew this was happening because if you look what happened at the close of this stock, if you go to a smaller time frame, CAPR, look what happened at the close.
I have it.
Yeah,
the red candle. Yeah,
and it got back up, but bought back up. So there's all the price action regarding that. So SMX 382 halted.
382.80.
Like I said, we could see 400.
Crow, Crow's 400 target there. Okay.
Yeah, this could be anything. We could even see this go higher than the pre-market high of 443. It can be anything. So GURE backed off of. Well, it didn't even get to 12 before it backed off. Now it's coming to retest the VWAP. Smoke Tuna, you're thinking that this VWAP area is the reload spot? Because it seems like it could be. We'll see if it ends up happening. I'm not going to be giving any trades for this. I'm not going to get back what I made today. We are past that 10:30 time where, and I know this was mentioned earlier, that we're past that 10:30 time. So people, the few that are still trading are getting up from their desks. We're going to see some, less volume, less liquidity in the market, even less than we already have. So I think I'm okay for now. It's been a pretty good morning.
Yeah, it's not been bad. It's not been bad. Tesla moving back up towards the highs. Ondas continues its recovery from the profit takers, which is common. What area do you have for the reload on GER? What price area do you have for that, Tuna?
Yeah, my VWAP's 1010. So if it's going to be VWAP support, that's kind of the area it would be.
This is FLNC having another good. This is Jay's, right? Jay, you still out there?
Oh, this one. All right. That kind of reminds me.
That was a really good trade. Should have just followed Jay into that. More Tesla call sweeps too.
QCLS got up to, looks like about 815, and then it got rejected. So that sideways price action where we had some of that consolidation, that's providing some resistance here for QCLS, making 815 a resistance area that has now rejected the price twice. Should this return later today and hit that level again, maybe there's a greater chance of it pushing through 815, but you're going to need to see that volume component be much larger than what it was this morning, because at 1 million shares in a 5-minute span was not enough to push through 815. So it's going to have to be higher than that. The next test will be 14 for.
Yeah, what I was asking, where's the load zone? What's the buy area on the pullback?
Yeah, and when you have
what I was asking. It needs to hold levels. What level?
Yeah.
What price area? Yeah.
Mentioning that if you have big profit, that's time to take a break, and that's exactly
that's real smart. That's what people that go to a casino and win, they have trouble stopping. That's the same thing is in effect in this case. That's why we comment on all the discipline. When you guys say, "Hey, I made a bunch of money. I hit my goal today. I'm out for the day."
Good.
That deserves
See
a compliment.
you later.
Yeah, that deserves a compliment. Don't give your money back. Don't give your hard-earned money back.
Yeah, folks, you're just joining us, for the first time, or they haven't been here for a while. We do love preaching, financial discipline. So you get those gains and you're feeling pretty good, like you can continue to make these trades happen. That's when you should probably stop. Take your gains.
Okay, 1020. Thank you, Tuna. So 1020 looks to be right around that area. Maybe not exactly 1020, but right around that area. And then you're expecting it to test 14 at some point. Boom.
Okay, so we kind of already had a bit of a load area because the last 5-minute candle took us down to 1019. So maybe we did just got that opportunity. Let's see what happens here with this little spike in bond we just got. It's trying to push up to 11 again. Joe, thanks for the compliment. Also, Kaba, you're mentioning, is another biotech name you keep an eye on based on some recent news.
That's CABA, right? Not Kaba.
Yes.
I see it in the chat there. There we go.
The B's and the V's. I got you. Okay, well, this has had some nice upside this morning. Let me take a look at the news. This also has some pretty interesting short interest. 17% of the float shorted, 3.6 days to cover. It doesn't exactly meet our parameters, but it's still up there. They just had earnings last month. Looks like they beat the estimates. They're not losing as much money as was expected. So take that for what you will. 94 million shares in the float, not necessarily the low float we're looking for. I think that if this, the price comes in, I'm not saying it will, but if this price continues to come under, like down and under $1, this is going to be one that eventually reverse splits and, probably has to do a capital raise, as many biotechs do. But let's see.
Nice move here, though.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. I don't know what the news is you're talking about that could be coming. It must be something in the autoimmune field, or maybe cancer. But yeah, I have not done my due diligence, and it's going up. It's looking for 3. TGL halt up. Let's take a look at Treasure Global. It doesn't look like it's halted. Looks like it's still moving. But it did hit it test 12 for the second time today, and it just blew through it. Okay, that's a really nice scallop right there. So you had this move up to 12 initially. It came back down, found its footing, and then this next move took it right up through it. So that's going to create a scallop pattern. It should go higher. If this was a cup and handle, we'd see the rejection at 12 and some selling, but not down to the bottom of the cup. It'd only go down about 30% typically, and then find support and go higher. Also, this is quite extended on a smaller time frame, so make sure you're paying yourself with stuff like this on the way up. Positive trial data on their cancer therapy. So is that they're going to announce that, or now how are they going to announce that? Is that going to be at a conference, or is it just going to be that they release phase 2 trial data or 3 trial data? You'll have to tell me, because like I said, I don't know anything about what they have going on right now.
Zach saying Ondas almost a complete recovery. We know the pattern, don't we? We see it all the time.
SMX opened, went up to 421, so it went past Voodoo's time, and it looks like that might have been a bit of a reversal candle. We'll see if it ends up resolving that way, but it's starting to look a little weak here. If it can come back up and close, see a candle close above 400, maybe there's more upside, but kind of backed off from that high that it made.
And then there was the other halt one here was TGL. So that pulled back big and then went to highs again and is halted at a new intraday high here at 1233.
Okay, so it must have been halted when I looked, just unhalting when I looked at it, because it was moving when I looked at it. It went up through 12. So, but now it's halted again. Okay. Yeah, Wheeler, this thing is continuing to rely upon the 65 EMA for support, and I get the sense that it's going to end up losing it if it keeps hammering this level. It's going to have to make a move off of it pretty soon.
UI path, this might be starting to try its next attempt at 19. Remember, it tried that right out of the open, got rejected. We came back in here, lost VWAP, although we just recaptured it. We held the 65 EMA. I guess we kind of danced around the 15 EMA 2 path on its way higher now. Well, I would watch the volume here to confirm that. Hey, Izzy, my son wants Bears Caleb cards. Go get them, boss. Go get them. I've got one, but they're not signed. Actually, I've got a couple here, but they're not signed.
What's the broader market looking like? Because some of these names are starting to look a little weak.
So the SPY on the NASDAQ basically went right to the resistance 2 pivot and stopped there. And it's backed off that a little bit, but it's really not breaking down. SPY hitting or sitting here at 688.
Oh boy. I love that this whole we got to get above 684 to go higher worked out so well.
Yeah, that did. It banged against that, then it popped it, and now here we go.
Yep. And yesterday in Happy Hour I was mentioning how once we clear that previous all-time high at 685.54, there's not a whole lot of resistance up until the next previous all-time high at 688.91. That's so far been pretty much the case. The high for the session here, 688.39. So, not that far away, like literally 50, what is it, 58, 52 points away. From 52 cents away from the level I'm looking at. Pretty good price action here, but it is going sideways a little bit. We'll see if it can push higher.
TWNP that Tuna mentioned here, this on the scanner, this near the highs right here, not halted. Was this BLCN? No, that's not. That's nothing.
Slightly higher prints in SMX.
Same in BE. BMNRs had kind of a nothing day.
rubric is getting some support from the VWAP. It's trying to move back up. I think you may see some resistance around 89.
Yep. Now 90 was what I was looking for earlier. Didn't get it. I'm glad that this came back into VWAP, or took the gains here before it came back into VWAP. Still would watch 90 for a potential move there today. Ryan, I've got a ton of Caleb rookie cards. That's my other investment venture, cards. Do you ever sell them? Got to sell them at some point.
Why use the 65 EMA? There's a number of reasons. Well, the easiest one is because it works.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, I didn't want to give a smart aleck answer, but since you did, I'll kind of expand on it. I noticed our friend Andy from Mighty Soldiers Trades, who used to come on with us. He comes in the chat here sometimes. Great guy, veteran, great trader. He was the one that introduced me to the 65 EMA. And I remember looking at it when he was first telling me, I was like, wow, this works. And that's exactly why I started adding it.
And there's some other underlying reasons as to why it works so well. It's of course it's a weighted average that emphasizes more recent prices. It's good for identifying trends. So if it's above the 65 EMA, then it tends to go into an uptrend. If it's below, it tends to be weaker. There's also it's like longer than short-term indicators, but shorter than major ones like the 200.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different reasons as to why it works so well, but those are just some of the reasons. And it works really well across pretty much every time frame. So that's why we use it.
Yeah. I like it. My favorite is on the 5 minute, but I also have noticed that the 15 minute is also pretty good.
And these longer term daily charts, even those have provided some levels of resistance and support.
That's true. GURE coming back up to that VWAP. We'll see here, right. Crow.
There it is. So yeah, it seems to me like oh no, actually we did have another opportunity. There was. Okay, so when I was talking about that red candle that took us down to 1019, and I was thinking, maybe that might be it. No, the 2 candles later, we got an even lower print at 1011. That was just beneath the VWAP, and now we're trading higher, trying to recapture that or trying to get to 12. Yeah. 65 EMA on the 5 minute. See, the 5 minute chart is typically what I use for day trading.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I use the EMAs for day trading, and the 5 minutes, the one I spend the most time on. Same.
Looks like Wheeler is still trying to find some support above this 65 EMA. But let's see what kind of volume this can get, because that's going to tell the rest of the tale here if we're going to get back up to VWAP.
There we go. SMX back to that pre-market high.
Yep, and through it. So now what happens next? Do we scallop or do we get a cup with handle? If it's going to be a scallop, we're going to continue higher. If it's a cup with handle, we're backing off.
Oh yeah, that CRGY. You had mentioned that earlier thinking about it. I'm glad that you did too, because I know Tim Melvin, this is starting to break out here. And I know some of the picks that Tim gives here have a longer time horizon. It's not necessarily what the group is after, but I appreciate you mentioning that here. This actually does look like it has some more upside. And it did break out from this recent like sideways area here. $10 looks to be pretty good. Pretty good breakout spot there. Yeah, or a good old rug pull, exactly, Zach. That's your other possibility on that one.
So one of the strong things about this company is their free cash flow. Is that my understanding?
CRGY?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. He had a number of things on it. Sorry, I was just looking at this card that Izzy linked me on X. Good score there, Izzy.
Yeah. All right.
That was, he said, I think one of his favorite cheap energy plays, CRGY.
Well, because ET is now like $16, but I'm sure back in 2020 that was the one that he was just all over. Because I don't know that that was just such a massive discount for a lot of those pipelines, midstreams, and other oil names. Man, and that company pays a great dividend too. I kind of wish I held on to a little bit more ET, but it's fine because I have other oil names.
Might you get another opportunity to reload that one?
ET?
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon as it continues to push higher towards 17. I don't know. Let me take a look at the daily chart here. I'm not going to worry about something that.
I mean, I think this thing could maybe come back into the low 16s.
It may come in lower than that. Let's see here. So when you look at this daily chart, one thing that has stood out to me is what's happening with the price action and the 50-day SMA. It seems like this does have the capability of trading over and holding over the 50-day SMA briefly since August. But it seems like every time that happens, there's always some selling that's going to happen later on. So unless we've actually established some footing here, which we could very well have based on the price action from October to this month, we might be turning around here. So I think I'd be watching for a recapture of 17. You see what I'm talking about? This consolidated area from October. Mm-hmm. This is interesting to me, and it looks like we've found some footing, and it's trying to push back over 17. So we'll see if we end up getting that. SMX now at 475.
Daniel's calling it going to 1,000. FYI.
Okay.
It could be whatever it wants, as you discussed earlier. Might as well.
Yeah. And if you got a piece of this and you're holding on to it, great. You're doing just fine. But like I said earlier, I think this is essentially gambling. There's no reason for this price to be up here. It's being manipulated to the upside, and it's likely going to be very ugly when the people that are pushing this up are finished with it.
You don't know when that's going to be.
Big pull in GURE.
Let's take a look here. That was the rug pull. That was one of the outcomes that could have happened there. And look, it actually tried to get above that VWAP, but really just couldn't.
But yeah, this is why I think I'm done for the week. It was a great and shout out to Smoke Tuna for mentioning GURE at load levels because I was listening, but I think I'm good with the profits I got in GURE. It was a pretty good day today. So I think I'm just going to say thanks, sit on my hands, and just
not give it back. Go into the weekend not upset. That sounds like a good idea.
Right.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't get 90 in rubric, but that's okay. I still got 2 points out of that.
Just hope that Packers don't give back any points.
I knew it was coming at some point. I couldn't tell you exactly when, but I knew it was coming at some point. So I was actually having by the way, market is also pulling. I know you said that we rug pulled here on GURE, but the market's also pulling. And really quickly before we switch over here to Anne-Marie, I was discussing with my friend yesterday, and I came to the conclusion here that a win, the question was, well, who does this game mean more for? And my answer is that the win means more for the Bears because the Packers are this specter that we really haven't been able to get over, and they've been beating us down for 30 years. But a loss is way bigger for the Packers because that signals maybe there's a change at the top in the division. Plus, the Bears actually have a better record, and the Packers are technically playing catch up. So it's going to be an interesting game, and it is so important for that division, which is the best division in football.
Oh, that's the thing that I was just going to talk on is that it is the best division in football. I kind of view it as the Mount Olympus of the NFL, and we're just taking turns being Zeus. So,
well, it's been your turn for 3 decades, so okay. I'm just going to say that.
Well,
4.
Well, our lightning rod is the Lombardi Trophy, and Lombardi is Lombardi. So, anyway, that's kind of how I view our division. It's got some of the oldest teams in the entire NFL, with I think only the Cardinals being the older one, because Packers and Bears, they were established in 2000. I'm sorry.
Well, the Cardinals used to be the Chicago Cardinals, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're the oldest team because they're the Chicago Cardinals. They moved over to Arizona, or I think they had one stop before that. But anyway, but the Bears and the Packers both established in 1919. They entered the NFL, I think, the same year as well, in 1920. You had the Lions in the NFL. Here goes Wheeler. You had the Lions in the NFL at 1930, and then, of course, the Vikings in 1960. Those are some very old teams that we have in our division, and it's a very strong division.
Yeah. Toro, by the way, this got yanked. So maybe this will firm up after it gets pulled, but yikes. All right. Born, you're welcome. It's awesome. Nope, Izzy, you're wrong. It's not that. It's the NFC North. Sorry. We love you, but you're wrong. That's all. All right, 13. Any closing words for the group here?
Another fantastic week with everybody. We're starting to see some crack trading, so I'm getting ready for some more of that next week. Don't know what the FOMC decision is going to give us in terms of opportunities for trades, but just keep an open mind that we could see some downside after that event since we're running up into it. But until then, folks, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the game. Enjoy Anne-Marie. I'll see you folks on Monday. Take care.
All right. Bye. Really good stuff there, 13. And a great week. And you know what? We're going to have fun. It'll be a good weekend. Good luck. We'll have a good time. All right. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. Let's bring her on. Anne-Marie, happy Friday. How are you doing?
Happy Friday to you. I'm doing good. Doing good.
So let me ask, who do you have for Bears Packers?
Anne-Marie's
like, why are you doing this? Why are you putting me on the spot? Why would you do this to me?
I'm going to have to go to the Bears because because I know my host.
There we go. I love it, Anne-Marie. I love it. You never disappoint. All right. What do you got for us here today?
Well, a couple of different things. That was a great morning recap that you did. It was just boom, 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 boom. So much news. And the sell that Kathy Woods had out of Meta for part of that position was something that made me look at it. And I wanted to refresh the memory of those in the space looking at this one because it does have some really good seasonality. And so I wanted to reflect on it again. We do have that wiggle. Remember, around the 12th of, this doesn't even show it. Well, yeah, it does right here. I don't know if you can see this formation, but almost all the charts show this spike up and then down and then a rotation up after the 15th. Most all of them do. And so my thought is it really seems clear that we're in the space of buy the rumor, sell the news from that space. But after that, this is going to be a fairly nice run into February. And so I want to refresh everyone's memory on these. The 680, 690, 700 butterfly, that's $1.38 or so. So it's $1.43. So it's still a nice clean buy zone. It gives you $2,000 of upside. And then the iron condor for 750, 760, and 500, 540. That's going to more than pay for it, gives you more than the minimum that I look for. And the probability of this trade being wrong is 1%. So this is still a really nice setup. I saw a couple of things I wanted to show us. Krispy Kreme, right? Is that KKR?
No, KKR is KKR. And
KKR,
company.
Yes.
Krispy Kreme is D-Nut.
Is it really?
It's D-Nut.
Okay, that's funny. All right. So KKR also has a really sizable upshot into the end of the year normally. It just seems to run up, especially at the first part of the year. The only time that did not happen was 22 when we had that rotation around, but it's got really solid seasonality stats, and it's coming into earnings right into that peak of February. So we could take this trade off just before earnings, maybe the last week of January. But here's what I've got for us here. Taking a look at February, again, we want to pay for the trade in case nothing happens. It's 145, 155, and 115, 105. That gives us that spread. If we want to just go straight vertical, hey, lady, I hate your three-legged butterfly things, whatever, you can do the 135, 145. That gives you, $1,000 upshot, less about $350. But the butterfly is really cheap here. It gives us $1,000 of upside. The average gain is less than 10%. So what I've done is say, all right, let's say we do get to the 10% marker. That's going to be $1,000 upside for $143 of risk. And if nothing happens, we're going to have theta decay and time erosion that should help take care of the upward drive that we're going to see, but maybe not all of the upward drive. So both these on the edges, I think, are really nice upshots for KKR. The next one is FANG.
And really quick here, I think on KKR, I think that's a stock that Tim Melvin also likes.
Nice.
The only reason I bring that up is because we were just talking about one of the energy stocks that he had recommended what feels like months ago just started to break out here today. So just interesting that you're coming up with an options trade here on KKR. We talk about this one often.
Yeah, that's great. And it's got a really nice looking wedge.
Yeah, it does.
It's got and the stats are really quite incredible. 9 out of the last 10 years, it's had bullish flow into February. So the next one is FANG, which again, energy, right? Diamondback Energy. This is clearly breaking out here. Looks pretty good. Got all kinds of upshot seasonality wise. Big fan of this one. Earnings 223. Now, here's what I think backdrop. Here's what I think's going on in energy. Because we are suppressing the price of oil right now in order to keep inflation low, the also-rans are going to be running out of business. And so the strong will get stronger. There will be some acquisitions for companies who cannot perform under the constraints for output. And so I suspect first part of next year, we are going to see all kinds of consolidations or companies just going out of business and people picking it up on the cheap. Oil has got to get higher. Now, that being said, people associated with the event suggest that the Saudi prince's visit to the States said, hey, listen, we're trying to keep oil production up, but our coffers continue to fade, and we've got these multi-billion-dollar things that we've got on the horizon, and oil needs to move up. So I think what's happening there is that this price compression is going to be here long enough for the big ones to sort of take the scraps of the little ones who can't make any money, and then we'll have ourselves a pretty big rotation into energy. I know, long story, but that is a very big story playing under the covers. That is not a good analogy.
I was going to say that one.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Scrub. Okay. So what we can say. Oh my!
You cracked me up, Anne Marie. I don't know what to say.
I gotta tell you. At least that's one of us. All right. So that being said, we've got a clean 170 to 180 call spread, $1,000 upside, $350 of risk. The 170, 180, 190 butterfly is 75 cents. That one seems like the super sweet spot. And then the 185, 195, 150, 140 iron condor in March is going to pay for that butterfly with ease. And so we'll be just watching that as we move along. I really like that one as well.
Okay, cool. I'm bullish on energy for 2026. I like these.
100%. Yeah. Have I talked about Google?
No, I feel like we haven't, but this is great too, because we actually had several people asking about Google earlier today.
All right. So let's take a peek. This one, I mean, wow, it is just running like a house of fire, truly. I mean, look at this. This is truly parabolic, exponential motion from the upside. And it's pretty interesting that of all of the Mag 7, this is the only one near its highs, right? Making new highs and continuing higher. Now, the trouble here is that it's got these big pockets, right? And we've got, well, that's a minor dividend. It's 21 cents, not too bad. Earnings on 2-3, again, tremendous end of the year seasonality for these guys. They are just, I mean, their seasonality numbers are incredible. So let's take a look at the price action events. Again, February. We're using February because it's just a good one to use here. Take a look at how much it's moved, though. So way off, you might go, holy cow, open interest, $40,000. I mean, 40,000 contracts. That's, people put these on in the future, right? They go, hey, I'm either going to sell, I bought some, I'm going to sell a covered call way out of the money, or I've got a huge position in Google. I'm going to leverage a little bit of options to juice it. Nobody thought this thing was going to run another $70, right? Because here we are, well, $60. Here we are up at 320 with the call wall deep in the money. So what happens when a call wall is deep in the money? They rotate price action around that, and they will roll that call forward or hedge it in some other way. So I don't see any hedging on the put side. There's certainly nothing big here on the put side at all for February. We do see 4,000 at 230, right? But other than that, you know, there's 6,000 at 290. So how do we play this? Well, they have an upward track that gives them about a 7% average upside. So two things. We could do the 330, 350, 370 butterfly. It's 255. Or we could do the 350, 360 call for 245. You might say, gosh, Emery, that butterfly feels expensive. Well, this price action trajectory only gives us an average of about 7%, right? The volatility here says they're pricing in, what is that, 165 or so, right? 365, excuse me. So you could go, all right, well, if they're pricing in 365, maybe I buy the 355, 365, right? And you can get it a little bit cheaper, but the probabilities are about the same, and you get it $5 higher up off the chain. That's going to be up to you as an individual. The current gamma level 1 is this 350 zone. That's why I've chosen that one at the middle strike.
Okay.
So That is my thought.
Real quick,
there.
just to add here, this is good stuff from 13. Avago is great to pair with Google. Avago is making Google's TPUs, and it is also holding up.
Let's take a look at Broadcom.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I should have called it Broadcom instead of Avago. Just force a habit.
Yeah, I mean, that's their ticker, so why not call it that? So this one also moving very dramatically. They have earnings just around the bend. So 12/11. Ooh. Earnings trade. All right. So here is my thought. As many of you, if you follow me, you know that I played snow into earnings. And what I played was a back ratio spread that was incredibly profitable. Of course, it carries a tremendous amount of risk, but the storyboard is this. Are we sitting in an environment where things are so optimistic that even if we deliver the goods, a la NVIDIA, are we going to rally to brand new highs? I don't think so. Let's say we do, though. All right. Let's do a couple of different trades here. For Broadcom, I think we've covered these for us. All right. So for Broadcom, let's take a look at the earnings event, and let's, I don't know, you want to play a little roulette? You could certainly go into the 19th. They report on the 11th. Let's see where the wall is. The wall is in the money, 370. Okay. We don't see any big volume in today's motion.
No, the 400 is the biggest.
Yeah. Right. And that's, yeah. So how do you want to trade this? If you think it's going up, then, you position into the two biggest nearby walls. So you could go 390 to 400. I think that's very expensive. You could go the wall sitting in between the two, 395 to 400. Small one. Oops, sorry, not 402, 400. You could certainly do that. It's 195, still about 40% of the spread. For me, my thought would be the following. I'm going to look to see, they're all the way down here. Look at that. That's insane. Okay, so for me, I would choose something like, I think I'll go here, 440. What are they? $37. So that would be 420 or so, right? Something like that. So I'm going to choose the 440, 445 back ratio for a $200 credit. And then maybe if my 390 to 400 works, then I only paid half the amount for it. But I do not have the expectation that these guys are going to run to new highs. Even if they come out great. Look what happened to NVIDIA. They came in. Yes, everything looked great. They came in, bounced up, and then fell off a cliff.
Palantir did the same thing.
Yes. So this is the kind of environment that we're sitting in. We might bounce, but we might also fade. And fading seems more natural to me. Now, that being said, if I think there's going to be a fade and I look at maybe both sides, 360 is only $20 away. I don't like that being that, right? 360 to 350, it's $2.40. You could do that. My thought would be, why not take advantage of the implied vol and sell the 330, 320, 420, 430, and get yourself an iron condor credit. You know, there's just, I just don't see it holding up. I think people are going to go, hey, that's awesome. Let's take some profit.
You know, Jay here, I think this was unrelated to our discussion right now, but here's Jay saying, if you had a good year, I think it's time to pare down some of the high beta names and go with some lower volatility value names, which is tracking with a lot of the discussions that we're having in happy hour here. And I feel like that would absolutely apply to what you're just talking about right
Exactly. Exactly. No doubt about it. Because we are seeing that rotation, just like you were talking to Putrino about this morning. There is, I mean, I think the market is trying to build some measure of strength because they're rotating out of this top 7 and trying to move into these other spaces. So this is just my thought.
Okay.
Man,
do you have anything else?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went through 5 stocks.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. We're cruising right now. We're cruising. So we do have C Boogie here is asking for Microsoft. There was another request for CAPR, which I'm not sure if that's going to do well with the option chains, but at least that gives us a couple of things to look at.
Sure. Let's take a look at Microsoft. I am so disappointed in this price action for Microsoft. It's just been heartbreaking for me, literally, because I'm short some puts, and I really expected this chart to hold traction, but you know, it can't hold a purchase with a pickaxe right now. It just looks horrible. And so here's my thought. If we lose this, first of all, let's look at where they had inventory, right? So we could argue that within this space between 400 and 470, say, we accumulated and we dropped out of it and came back and went straight back to the top. So let's see. What do you know? Can't make that up, folks. Look at that. Just incredible.
I mean, that is
I know.
So perfect.
It's incredible. Draw the boxes, be a simpleton. It's okay. So here we are. It comes to 345. And now let's see if it went up top and what it did. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, so it did break above it, that 555.45 area. It held, but here's the problem. If we can't hold this one, 436 is going to be that next pocket, and then 406. And if we lose that, we're probably headed to 380. Just saying. So I think it's very important that Microsoft holds this edge. Now, what it could do is my very favorite, not so favorite, look below and fail. So it breaks down and then immediately recovers. So what do I want to do here? Well, if it comes down to 467, I want to buy it. So I'd set an alert here. I don't want to trade in this noise unless I'm taking a short call spread before earnings, right? I would suspect that would be a very tidy thing to do, but the volatility it's extreme. I mean, big pockets of reversals. And so my suspicion would be, let it clear out here, let it come in and test, or let it break above 492. If it breaks above 492, we probably are in the clear, and it could easily head back up to, 530 and beyond. But as it sits right now, this I don't think it looks very healthy at all. I would have liked for it to immediately have retraced, and we've got that downward flow coming in on the 10th or 12th, whenever that is. So you know what? I would wait. Let the wiggles get out here, and then let's see what happens. So
and I know you're not a big moving average fan, but we actually have the 200-day moving average sitting right at 469.78, which is
that's perfect. That's what it's battling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely
a little bit above that right now. It's 10 points above that right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets tested.
Yeah, that is absolutely what we're doing. And, sometimes it takes 4 or 5 weeks around that big moving average.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean? Exactly. Yep, absolutely.
So that's I wish I didn't have to punt, but that is clearly a punt right there.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, we don't do it just because somebody asked. We do it because what the chart tells us. And if the chart tells you to avoid, then there's probably a good thing to do there. Yeah. CAPR was the other one. I don't know what the chains look like on this. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to do it.
Let's take a peek. Whoa.
But it's had some major action recently.
What's this noise here?
Okay, well, you're on a weekly chart, so it had news earlier. Let me pull exactly what that is here real quick.
Great seasonality.
That was the offering. It announces positive top-line results from a pivotal phase 3 HOPE-3 study for one of its drugs for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So it had good phase 3 data.
All right, let's see what the chains are saying. Sideways, I bet this was short covering.
It was high short interest, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Anne-Marie, 35% of the float shorted with 7.9 days to cover. So this absolutely high short interest on both metrics we look at.
Yeah. So no bueno. Look at this. This is given back 40, 27. Mercy. Okay. So really quickly here on Wednesday, it looks like it was halted, and out of the halt, it made that 40.37 print. And it immediately, when those halts were released, it settled right around $27. So that was a very clear overshoot. Yeah. So if we're staring this down, the beautiful thing about a base like this, a gap up, is these gaps up tend, let's go see if we can show this. The gaps up tend to show their faces around old areas of support and resistance. Oh, what do you know? So there it is, right? When in doubt, look to the left. And so what we're seeing, let's clear the drawings. I just made a mess of that. So what we're seeing is a gap into the old highs. And let's see what this is. What's this price? 5 to 20. So that's $16. 16 plus 21 is 37. So it overshot that by about $3, right? The range from all of this price action holding. And so now it's sitting below the close of the candlestick of 3 days ago. And that's at 30. And so the question is, what is the storyboard here? Well, here's the problem. If it can't get up over the close of the candlestick that the news came in on, people are not interested. We have to wait until it gets above 30 again. And so if we stare that down, we could see 21 is a support zone. So let's see what we've got. Chains are very interesting. Okay, so if per happenstance you want to take a shot at this one, I'd sell the 20 put, take the cash, and see if you got put to the stock. If you're thinking, hey, this cancer event is really going to be great. Patience is going to be your superpower. And here's why I say that. At some juncture, these kinds of motions usually get a 50% gap fill event. That's all the way down at 13.
Yeah.
So if it comes down, it holds 20 and it bounces again, you're in good shape. The daily chart doesn't really show the measure of seasonality. The weekly one does, and it's got positive seasonality into probably, I've noticed that a lot of biopharmaceutical style charts have these spikes up into April. I don't know why. Something, I don't know if it's a news thing or whatever they do. But if you're looking far away and you say, hey, this one might be something great, and you're not afraid of hanging on, you know, you could buy yourself a 1 call for June of 2026 and sell the, will you get enough if you do that? 12. No, you get about $1 there. So that's about a 10% return. Yeah, you know, oh, these are almost 1-to-1. Here, wait a second. 26, 25, 24. Yeah, this one, 5, is probably your better bet. Look at all these even things. We would want to use 20 or 21 because we know that's a floor. And so that gives us $16. So you'd make about 50% if this faded and it came all the way back down to 21. And you bought it at this 521 spread. If it came all the way back to 21, you'd still make the difference in the spread, $16. You paid 11, that's $5. That's almost 50% profit.
Okay.
Deep in the money call spread.
All right, Anne-Marie, great stuff yet again. Have a good one this weekend. And so that remind me. Yeah, thank you. That reminds me. So are you good for Tuesday? Because I know you're traveling here pretty soon. So we're going to get you on Tuesday, and then we won't have you probably for the rest of the month, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff.
Right.
Well, we look forward to that on Tuesday. Anne-Marie, promise me you'll have a great weekend.
I will. I'm going to go to the Tokyo Stock Exchange, so I'll send you some pics.
Oh, please. Yes. That would be, I'll share them with the group too, if that's all right with you.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. Okay. Yeah. Anne-Marie, really good stuff. Have a great weekend. All right.
Take care, everybody.
All right. Anne-Marie's departure leaves room for Paulo today. Paulo, happy Friday. How you doing?
Hi, Ryan. How are you? Can you hear me successfully?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, I did. How about yourself?
Thankfully, all good too. For today, I have a very interesting cycle for Bitcoin.
Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and get that rolling. Trading Made Simple with Paulo starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are you? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. And let's start with our live session here. So for today, I would like to show a cycle for Bitcoin. All right. First, I would like to mention that I'm actually, I have been studying a lot of market cycles lately. So I still have not mastered them. I'm kind of in the process. So I would apologize if I have some difficulties trying to explain this. But by the point where are in the cycle, I do think it is important to share it. So I would like to share a personal sine wave cycle for Bitcoin that I built and I have been following, and also compare it to another one I found out on the internet, which would actually be quite the opposite of what my personal cycle would be showing. And both are still valid, but right now they are actually starting to show a divergence between both. So let's actually see which one could be. All right, so when studying market cycles and trying to visualize them, there are multiple tools and ways of charting cycles, right? The one I have been particularly studying, which I do find that it is very good for visualizing those cycles, are trying to map a sine wave either against momentum or price. All right, this would be the Bitcoin weekly since its creation in 2008. And this is the logarithmic chart that is the reason why we're seeing price behavior like this. What I have actually found, first, when we're studying market cycles, it is important to try to measure the cycles from bottom to bottom, not from top to top, even though sometimes that might show a better facing than charting them from the bottoms. But a common technique would be to try to chart market cycles from bottom to bottom when we are finding important bottoms on the long-term perspective that would be indicating the beginning of cycles. As always, later after Bitcoin, if anyone has any requests for charts, please feel highly encouraged to type them in the chat room. I have it right here, so we can also do some requests after Bitcoin. All right. What I'm personally noticing here for Bitcoin is that the sine wave shape has actually successfully called every major Bitcoin bottom since Bitcoin was actually created back in 2008 here. All right. What we're seeing is that the first major correction, which crashed Bitcoin actually from 30 all the way to $2. Imagine that. How much is it? More than 90%. Actually, it started here on this cycle. Then we can see how the RSI indicator perfectly aligns with the perfect sine wave. It marked the top. And again, the bottom here in this cycle successfully called for the next Bitcoin bear market here around 150 per coin. Then we actually had again the bull rally here. We can see momentum even though the top was actually here. The market cycle is not for this sine wave is not exactly to time the exact bottom and the exact top. It's more for accumulation and distribution ranges. We can see after the second bottom, we again had the rally. And the third bottom was successfully called shape, where it started actually getting interesting. Then once again, we can see how momentum RSI weekly time frame was perfectly synchronized with the phase of the sine wave, again successfully calling the next bottom here on the trend. Why is this possible? I did some research. I'm still doing the research. Apparently, there are three important factors all working together, making this sine wave completely rational instead of just a coincidence. First, Bitcoin was literally built to be cyclical. Every 4 years, we have the halving, which is when the amount of Bitcoin created every day is cut into half, and that creates a scarcity. And since this cycle happens every 4 years, it does have an impact in price, which starts forming up like a cycle within a wave because the halvings occur every 4 years. Additionally, from that, we do also have the global liquidity cycles, which are also shaped into a sine wave and further reinforce the cycles we're seeing with the halvings. And then finally, the third would be investor sentiment. Investors go through plenty of emotions. On the bottom of the cycle, we go through fear, depression. Then we start getting a bit of hope, excitement, euphoria, and then peak sentiment. And then again, the sentiment gets a bit irrational. And then once again, we start seeing these corrections. So right now, in the chart, we are actually once again cycle. Will this time be different? Let's see. I'm following it, but the chart for Bitcoin, this current Bitcoin cycle would be signaling a potential bottom around. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific date, but we would right now be on an accumulation period for Bitcoin. I actually researched, I tried to find all there are other people actually following this cycle. I would be surprised if not, because it's a bit evident. And from all the sine wave shape cycles I found, I would also like to share one which is bearish. I don't know which one will be correct because both so far have been validated, but from now one will have actually to remain valid, because my personal cycle would be calling a bottom here and the other one would be calling a top. And let me show it here. So of course I'm citing my source, it's CryptoCon, and he is also using a sine wave. And let me show what's very interesting. I respect this cycle a lot. I like it, but I also do have a comment on it. So he does, or she has a very good sell signal for spotting the top. And his sell signal would be when the sine wave shape crosses from positive into negative territory. That is the sell signal under this graphic. And we can see how the last 3 times that worked perfectly. Check this out. We flipped from positive into negative here, and that was the top on 2014. Here on 2018, we flipped from positive into negative, and once again, that was the top. And then on 2022, we flipped from positive into negative, and once again, this was the top. In this case, we are right now flipping here, November 28th, from positive to negative. The only thing is that the top actually happened a couple weeks before, around October. So now we have already dropped how much? Like 30%, I think, on Bitcoin, but it would be triggering a sell signal last week. We can also see how the bottoms were called nicely here. The 2014 bottom was perfectly aligned with the bottom on this cycle. Then the 2018 was also perfectly aligned, and the 2022 was also perfectly aligned. According to this graphic, the next major Bitcoin would be actually for end of November 2026. So according to this cycle, we would be starting a bear market here for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. What is my personal comment on this? First, this sell signal, it's starting to get a bit out of phase. And the other is that this cycle doesn't respect all Bitcoin's price creation. We can see this cycle is starting on 2011. So they are actually omitting 3 years of Bitcoin price. And the first major sell-off, a 90% crash in Bitcoin, which definitely has to be taken into consideration, was not respected. So from the 4 major bottoms we had, this cycle actually starts here on 2014 with the first sell signal and the next bottom. This bottom was not catch on the previous one, and we're omitting 3 years of price history, which I wouldn't think that is ideal. I would like to see this cycle actually catch the whole Bitcoin history. Now, what this cycle has, which I find it fascinating and amazing, is the perfect phasing on the sell cycles. I mean, the sine wave going from positive into negative here with this top, again with this top, and again with this top. And even though this one came a couple weeks later, I found that personally fascinating. Besides, the bottoms were called perfectly, the last 3. The first one was not taken into consideration. So this one would be signaling a 1-year bear market from here for the crypto market. It is still valid. It would still be valid, but also the one I would be following is also valid here. And even though I don't have the perfect bottoms and top signals, my personal cycle goes a bit more for accumulation and distribution phases. What I do have in my favor would be that I do catch all the important dips here. We can see after Bitcoin's creation, this was the first crash. It goes perfect on the bottom of the sine wave. Here goes perfect on the bottom of the sine wave too. Once again, here goes perfect on the bottom of the sine wave. And once again here. And we can see how the momentum in this bottom, well, we don't know if it's a bottom yet, of course, but in this particular bottom, we are already back to the lows here for Bitcoin. So will this time be different? Which cycle will remain valid? I don't know, but it would be very interesting to follow here. if anyone would actually like to add this cycle here into your chart, you can use the following coordinates. You just need to add a sine wave shape. I like to plot it here against RSI. And the following coordinates would be this. On the range from 30 to 70, and here minus 434 and minus 342. And this would, you would be able to load it into your chart as well. So let's see. Are we going as the other cycle shows for a 1-year Bitcoin bear market, or are we actually going to find a potential bottom here? So that would be the analysis with Bitcoin. Now I would like to show some important setups. And if anyone who has a request, of course, feel highly encouraged to type it in the chat room. I can see it right here to the right. And of course, we can load it up. So of course, we are going to start with Marvel. Marvel remains, I would say, one of my favorite setups in the market. And let's actually review it. All right, Marvel was actually, it actually had a vision to earnings. Stock was able to have a nice recovery after the pullback we saw on the weeks. We are on a wave 3 of a new cycle starting. We're seeing record not record volume, but we're seeing a lot of volume on the buy the dip here. Also, insider buying to selling for Marvel is pretty 200,000 purchases last 6 months against 5,000 sales. So insider is very strong for this stock, and that's the last 6 months. So that goes like to April, May. So we can see that from here, all this has been insider buying. Wave 1 could have topped here, and we could already be on wave 3. There could also be the possibility wave 1 actually topped here, and this wave 2 bottom. Both scenarios remain valid. So it's a bit, I wouldn't say it's that clear where wave 1 and wave 3 is, that we're likely already on a wave 3. Confirmation for Marvel remains 94.95. It's one of the biggest positions on my long-term account. And my personal price target for Marvel is all-time highs at 140. I even personally think we're already correct. All right. Other stocks I like here a lot would be Meta. I see we have a request for phase. So of course we're going to check. All right, for Meta, that the stock might actually, all right, for Meta, it does seem that the stock might actually be forming a bottom here. We are bouncing from the 0.6 Fibonacci retracement at 600, and it does seem 0.5 Fibonacci retracement is bullish above 600, 640. I see we're having some connection problems here.